Hi, Vincent.
Hi.
Hello. Yes, third time lucky. Sometimes spaces can be pretty glitchy.
Everything is glitchy.
I was thinking today whether they might just be sabotaging people's communications and crashing people's spaces.
Maybe.
But anyway, it seems you think gay people have some moral duty to vote one or the other, and I'm saying I don't agree. Because basically for Trump, I mean, Trump is not that threatening to gay people, is he?
A little bit like they were talking about his 2025 agenda. That other guy that came on the other day, the one that blocked me. Um,
Oh, Stephen Broughton.
one of them, the one that blocked me and that was anti-gay. He said the Trump 2025 agenda. Um,
Well, as long as you know that Trump has said, I have never endorsed it, and he's been very careful to do that because it's too right wing for him. So it's been formulated by the Heritage Foundation and other associated conservative organizations, but it's not him. His is Agenda 47.
oh, Agenda 25 is not his.
Well, it's called Project 2025, right? The two separate things. Agenda 47 is him being the 47th president of the you of America and his agenda. And there's something called Project 2025 that a lot of people, a lot of conservatives have, tried to make Trump endorse, but he has not, in fact, endorsed it and actually said, I have not endorsed it.
Yeah, you're right because it probably is too right leaning.
Yeah, because, in a way, Trump would be, you know, just, he doesn't feel he has to be radical anymore. He just has to be restrained, make sure he doesn't say anything to upset anyone, and will coast towards victory in November. I mean, he's not this kind of, what's the word, a person having to make a splash and take a position and do all kinds of
Well,
things. So,
it pretty much looks like Kamala Harris is now the official pick. Did you see that?
yes, I've heard a few news reports about her. Because I would have thought, um, you know, Trump would be, pro working class, pro, well, not, I was going to say pro anti immigration, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, who knows if that's what he's really like or that's what he really does. He wants to give foreign university students who come here who complete their degree citizenship.
Well, I guess you have to, understand that businesses need labor. I mean, they think they can, I guess they're using AI and, robots and whatever, driverless cars and stuff to replace labor. But, it's not, people sort of think that, oh, as long as you, how am I trying to say? I mean, you with your artificial wounds, you think, oh, you're going to save women by, not imposing this, physical burden on them. But once they're not needed, then they will become extinct. It's sort of like, of those farm animals, oh, poor things, battery farmed, and slaughtering cows and stuff. It's like, once you grow meat in bags in factories, it's like, well, we don't need cows because if we can just sort of make milk without cows in industrial quantities, what would be the point of keeping them alive? And they will become extinct. I mean, the whole reason why there's so many of these, farm animals is because we like eating them.
Right.
But if they think that as long as they don't eat us, we'll be fine. It's like, well, actually, you'll become extinct because you have no use anymore. So it's between a rock and a hard place, really. But I've been trying to explain to people, and I know I got it somewhere years ago, and I don't even remember when. And it was saying that if you want to preserve your racial or national identity, you must always be prepared to do your own dirty work. And of course, empires are the ones who will keep ignoring their advice because they think, oh, we can just move people around, and um, because our empire is so vast, and our access to goods and services and people is so easy, and they just move people around, but they upset the balance of their own population. And of course, if you think of the white working classes who become welfare dependent and not prepared to work or not fit to work, what happens is that they will be replaced. I know a lot of white people think it is some sinister Jewish conspiracy to replace them, but basically, if you think of yourself as a group and you don't have your working class, or they're not, most of them are not working, you are basically a body without arms and legs, and they obviously your business organizations will want their labor. And once they start getting these people in, they can't stop it. It's a behavioral addiction. I mean, it's like shaking the money tree as far as usury is concerned. And also, the culture of casual sex is also a behavioral addiction. So I think in terms of the future, um, the best you can do is you've got all these people in, you're not going to be allowed into office however much you want to kick people out. So the best you can do is say to your ruling classes, why don't you adopt this system, and then everybody will have a chance to you know do what they can, in terms of producing the next generation. And 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 what I think will happen is that once the white indigenous people realize what they have to do to keep themselves in existence, immigrants will also, they also have their different anxieties. They don't want to cross continents and oceans just to merge in whatever culture there is. They want to keep their identity too, and they would support marriage and family values, as would white nationalists if they had their heads screwed on properly. It's like, well, whether we like it or not, we have to produce the next generation of our race, and we want the law to support marriage and family values. So then it becomes a battle between patriarchy and matriarchy, i.e., the people who um, want to support marriage, and the other, and obviously the people who who are who believe in sexual liberation from the rules of marriage and good parenting. And I suppose you have to make a decision about which you want to support. I think that's a fair summary of things as they stand.
Well, you know, well, the question is, who are gays going to be voting for? And first of all, the idea that gays are still like knee-jerk liberals is really changing. Gay marriage and the mainstreaming of gay culture has made many, many, many Republican homosexuals. I mean, there's many of them. Um,
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
well, I don't know. It disrupts the whole, like, that gays are going to necessarily vote for Kamala Harris. I think it's the same thing now. Like, a lot of black people in America are pro-Trump. You find them everywhere. especially like, the ghetto ones, like, you know yeah, the ghetto ones especially are the ones that seem to like
Yeah,
Trump the most.
I know, but the thing is, it's like people keep focusing on race, and it's actually race is not the issue. They only throw it at us to divide us, to make us not able to work out how things are, and challenge whoever is imposing this on us. Basically, if you want to reduce everything to its most simple level, it is really between people who, um, you know, who are social conservatives and people who think gay marriage and all the other casual sex is okay. But what you have said recently is seems to be suggesting that the quality of gay encounters has deteriorated because of this dilution of all the practices and principles of gay identity. Because something has, obviously upset the balance of everybody's identity. And they're trying to make it about race, but it isn't really about race. Because, it's sort of like, okay, you and I may be competing, in some team sport or whatever. And I think we would both know that, like, well, if I'm going to win in this basketball game or whatever, I have to train, I have to go to the gym, I have to run, I have to, practice my pitching and bowling and, whatever it is I need. And it's like people don't even realize that this is what they have to do. And the most important thing is like, well, if you want to keep your group in existence, you have to produce the next generation. It really is as simple as that. And it's not just a matter of being able to produce them. You have to parent them and educate them and well, to make sure that they are not inferior in quality to their parents. And this requirement has been neglected for a few generations. But I think it's really because of the welfare state. And I don't mind saying again, I know it's going to be controversial, this proposal of mine to reintroduce slavery and allow licensed brothels, because basically it was a mistake for both the British and the Americans to ban it. Because how else are you going to make the distinction between people who really like, well, you should have, it's not fair that people who have no jobs, who are welfare claimants, can vote and compete with, married parents who are, working, hardworking families, trying to parent their children. They shouldn't have equal rights to welfare mums and people who've never worked. And so the lower status of being in indentured servitude is necessary to make the point that there are these different groups in society and they're not equal. And sorry, French revolutionaries, what you want is inconsistent with, well, it's even inconsistent with liberty. What they want, you can't have equality and fraternity if you don't have hierarchy. And that is, I think, essential to survival. Because if you think of the military, you know you really need a general. You really need people prepared to. Well, you need the ordinary soldiers. Because if you don't have a leader, nobody will do anything, and they will keep passing the buck, and they'll just get killed when when I guess the other, well, their enemy, who is better organized, will just know, they can be attacked, and they will never be able to make up their mind because they have no leader, right? And this is the problem with Jews. I know people just, whatever happens to Jews, they'll think, oh, they won again, and they rule the world, and when you think of them, they're just this brand. They're this brand that the American Empire has used to justify its presence in the Middle East. Well, Jews. If you ask any Jew, well, who's your leader? They would be able to tell you. And the situation in Israel is that if you want to go and live there and you're an Orthodox Jew, you won't be allowed to because they don't want you there. The people they want are men of fighting age, women of childbearing age, and you'll get your Israeli passport almost instantly if you can prove that you're liberal and are men and women in these uh, most desirable categories of being of childbearing age and fighting age. But I mean, who determines Jewish identity? It should be the Jews, not the American Empire. But of course, the American Empire doesn't care about Jewish identity. It just wants its, excuse and reasons to maintain its presence in Israel. Because even the most corrupt people will want a cover, to do what they're doing. Nobody's going to say, well, I'm just a warlord. I'm just very good at fighting and I have nuclear weapons. And if you don't like it, I'll sanction you or bomb you. So even, even people, even warlords want to be considered, doing some good. And they've used the Jews really as their cover. Jews are their mascot. And Jews can't even do anything because they don't have a leader, right? I mean, I tried to find out who the leader of the ultra-Orthodox community is, and basically they're all just scattered groups. And obviously they have their preferred rabbis and they live in certain parts of the world, and they're happy. They don't want to argue about who's going to be number one rabbi of all Jewry. They're just happy doing their thing in their Western country and not arguing about these things, which means really that they might as well be the hippie movement, this leaderless group who can't expel anyone. So they're like a political party without a leader and without the ability to expel anyone, no matter how egregious their behavior. I don't think it's enviable, but they're having basically their brand hijacked, and they can't do anything about it. And we see this in Muslims. Particularly the Sunni Muslims, because they don't have a leader either, and they can't agree
No, I
amongst
know.
themselves.
I know it's very, because the culture I came from, that I find this very annoying because, the culture I came from, these things are very tight knit. There is a central authority, right? In the Jehovah's Witness religion, there's a central governing official body, and as a Jehovah's Witness, you can't just do whatever you want and still be called a Jehovah's Witness. There's Muslims who fornicate, drink, eat pork, celebrate Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, there's Muslims that do all these things. They still call themselves Muslims, and other Muslims call them Muslims and consider them Muslims. And, it's like, I'm used, it's so much easier when you have a standardized doctrine and you have checks on the population to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, to talk about religion and to talk about people and to talk about, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, what the official position is. There's not 5 official positions. There's one official position.
Yeah, and the Jews are in that position too. They are, because they don't even have to be religious to be called Jews. Because the West, because Western governments treat them, give them equal rights. And the religious Jews can't do anything about it because they know they're out of favor, and the Jews that the Gentile most favors would be the secular Jew, claiming to be Jewish.
Yeah, well, now they're bringing in all the Hindus and Indians into Israel to do all the labor for them, and they're just going to be slavish, like pushovers that are going to do whatever they're told. They're horrible. They're horrible. They're such a slavish people. They just like wherever the money and power is, they just give themselves over to it. They don't, they're not very good at initiating their own projects, so they latch onto other people's projects.
Hmm.
They latch onto other people's projects. They latch onto other people. They want people who already have money and wealth. Like, I noticed, well, even like white people and Jews, I feel like are more able to say, look, we need something new. Let's start small. Okay, these people, they have no money, but all they have is talent, and let's put something together and like start something new and make this happen. And Hindus, they want to invest into things that already have multi-million dollar, that already have big names, big name politicians. They're not very good at starting something small and growing it because they're power hungry and they're money hungry, and all they care about is big. Like, you can see, the types of houses that they buy. They want these big, you know, they're just, I don't know. They're horrible, and they will just go along with whatever Israel says. And they want to build up Israel. They want Israel to become the capital of the world. I've met Hindus that want to outsource their national defense to Israel.
Yeah, I mean, they have no particular loyalty, but the other thing to remember about the Hindus is they're not an organized religion either, right? You've had dealings with them, and it's like, we'll let you think of our religion whatever you want to think. As long as you give us money, we don't care, if you believe in nonsense. I mean, you were telling me that you thought you'd converted to Hinduism.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought I did, but I really didn't. I was too fucking good for those people.
yes. So, but I mean, you know the difference. You in particular have this unique perspective growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, and you see how effective it is having this hierarchy, which Hindus don't have, Jews don't have, and Sunni Muslims don't have, and so they have this
Yeah,
diluted identity.
yeah, there needs to be a hierarchy. There needs to be, I mean, or at least some kind of like centralizing body. But the thing is that, you know, well, Muhammad didn't leave behind a centralizing body, and lots of people didn't leave behind centralizing bodies. The Mormons did. The American religions got it. Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Christian Science, Seventh Day Adventists. They're all organized. They all have central governing bodies, unless you're some kind of break-off group, which exists. But even those break-off groups have centralized bodies. They have like a centralized headquarters that makes all the decisions and makes the, everything that it's supposed to be. And in some of these instances, like with Mary Baker Eddy, she left her church behind in a shambles with no leadership. And they pulled it together. They just pulled it all together and said, fine, the Christian Science Church announced itself as the new governing body, because Mary Baker Eddy, who started Christian Science, was like the dictator, and without her, nothing could be done. So when she died, there was no like leader, and there was no way to do action because she was no longer alive. So they just organized themselves, and they contacted the churches and said the mother church in Boston is in charge, and take it or leave it. And the Christian Scientists who didn't like it left and disintegrated, and the Christian Scientists who stayed, are the Christian Science Church today.
Hmm. Hmm. But I mean, we see how important it is to be an organized religion because, really, when you think about it, there are only five world religions, and it is the organized religions, i.e., the Abrahamic religions, who, have the most powerful empires. And I think it is to do with the structure of its revelation, of its scripture, because basically, the most recognizable thing about Judaism is the Ten Commandments. So they codified it into 10 easy to remember rules, and by doing this, um, ordinary Jews keep their identity, and it became such a what's the word? Well, I mean, it became so attractive. The whole idea became so attractive that the Romans culturally appropriated it.
What,
So,
Christianity?
yes, because people have been wondering. It's like, why are the Jews so powerful? And they think, well, it's probably because they worship the most powerful God conceivable. And then this neatly supports the fact that Gentiles took the Torah of the Jews and put their own twist on it, and arguably Islam was Muslims putting their own Islamic twist on the Jewish and Gentile nature of Christianity, and they created a new thing. They synthesized Judaism and Christianity and called it Islam. And by incorporating its key elements, because we were talking yesterday about why didn't um, the Muslims just start a new religion and a completely different one with a new God? And it's like, no, because the whole idea was to say we are better than the previous two, and because if you started a new religion, you literally would have to start from scratch. So the clever way to do it would be to say, we're like, the one with the most powerful God, and we're not so exclusive, so we include both Jews and Gentiles, and everybody should come to us because, we're the latest model, we're the most advanced version of ethical monotheism, so everybody come on over to us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if you presented this narrative in a logical way, it's like, I mean, today I was thinking, well, somebody was asking, I forget who now, it was like, oh, but why did the Arabs get it? They're so stupid and desert dwelling, and they can't even sustain civilized city living, and then I remember somebody saying, well, why is Muhammad the unlettered prophet? And I think maybe there was a method to this madness, because the whole idea of Muhammad being illiterate is that nobody's going to say, oh, this illiterate prophet wrote this sort of Arabic poetry, and he couldn't have done that because he couldn't read and write, and the Quran being given to desert dwellers it's like, well, some people might say, well, why didn't they give it to the Romans? They're so civilized. Why didn't they give it to the Chinese? They're so civilized and ancient. And then I suppose the reason would be, well, if you gave it to really civilized, sophisticated civilizations, they would say, well, obviously they got somebody really clever to write it. So that's why it had to be given to Bedouin tribes. So nobody's
Mm-hmm.
going to say, oh, you're so ancient and civilized and sophisticated and literary.
Hmm.
And and I think the story can be, you know, for America, because I mean, America is special in that it is a um, what's called a proposition nation, and that means, you know, a country founded on an idea, not oh, we've just been here for so many millennia, and that's why we're here. Um, unlike Europe, because it evolved from, I don't know, Stone Age people, and they became kings and became civilized, and America was like, we're going to have a country following these rules, and that's how it's going to be. Um, but okay, so I'm saying America would actually have a better run empire if it adopted secular Quranism, and then more people would like America because they were the people who showed themselves capable of repentance, and they get a lot of credit for it. Really, I think it's a great story. It's like the book of Jonah, right? That this ancient civilization or very powerful empire repented and was saved. Maybe you'd like to tell the story of Jonah.
Well, I actually don't know the story of Jonah very well. I know he was sent to Nineveh and he didn't want to go, and then the whale ate him. And
Yeah, but the
I
point
don't I don't
is,
really know the story of Jonah. I mean, Claire, I'm not as biblically literate as you would like to think I am. I'm more biblically literate than probably the average human being, but I'm not like a scholar.
mhm. But I mean,
You
I think
know,
everybody knows it. Every child. I mean, I just remember, all these illustrations of whale and Jonah, and um, so I remember it as a children's story. Uh, but anyway, for me, it's a story of Jonah didn't even want to go there. That was the whole point. I don't even like the Ninevites. I hate them. Why would I go and save them? So he went in the opposite direction, right? And he boarded a ship, and then I guess God was angry and or wanted to frighten him, and then the people on the ship thought, well, it's getting really scary. We'll have to get rid of a few people because and then Jonah thought, well, I better go because I think God is having a go at me, and so he jumped off, and the whale swallowed him.
mm,
But anyway, the whole idea is that they listened to him. He was a foreign prophet. That is the whole point of the story. But anyway, they were open minded enough to not be xenophobic or racist. Like, who are you to tell us what to do? I mean, they listened and they thought, well, Jonah had a point. We better mend our ways, and they repented. There we are. So I think, I mean, with the Jews, they say, I mean, actually, a lot of people, they sort of know, I'm going to enjoy my sins, my fornication, my sodomy, and when I'm too old to do these things and don't want to do them anymore, I can repent. But I mean, I suppose that
that's what that Muslim told me. He said he's like, well, I'll just practice homosexuality and then I'll repent and everything will be fine. Like, if you go into this being like, well, I'm just gonna repent, I don't think God would accept that. That doesn't sound like something God would accept.
well, I was thinking about this, and maybe I should check this, but I didn't think the Quran even says that sodomites go to hell. I don't think they even say that. It even says that, but it does say hypocrites go to hell. And I thought, you think, everybody's guilty of hypocrisy, and so, what does that mean? But not everybody, commits adultery, sodomy, and all that kind of thing. But I think the really clever bit about the Quran is that it's saying that you should have these rules, and punish adulterers, fornicators, and sodomites. But if they don't get caught, then they get away with it, and and they don't necessarily go to hell. Because it doesn't say, all sodomites, that they go to hell. They just get punished in this life. And if nobody discovers your adultery, sodomy, fornication, then you get away with it scot-free. But if you die a hypocrite, then you go to hell. And what is hypocrisy? I think hypocrisy is just not following Islamic principles or the principles of your religion, Judaism, Christianity, and giving irrational and irrelevant reasons. So I think it's pretty lenient, I would say, and I think this should be acceptable to people who've grown up in an era of casual sex. Because it's basically saying we're going to have these laws, we're going to punish people if they're caught doing it. And it can't be that hard for them to not do it in public and get arrested over an indecency offence. So it's a very easy to satisfy condition. Just don't do it in public. Don't let a policeman see you, and but just acknowledge that it's a sexual offence, and that your laws reflect it, and I really think you're missing an opportunity here. You were already. I mean, secular Quranism is not going to be promoted by anyone who looks conventionally masculine and stern or is a social conservative. I mean, everybody would get frightened, wouldn't they?
I guess.
So you're. I think you were put on this earth to promote secular Quranism, and then I guess you can be Lord Protector of gay people, and then you'll have to call it something else if you want, gay people.
It's gay Quranism. We're gonna have gay Quranism.
No, you can't call it that. I was thinking of, if you want to bequeath your position to some gay man to protect the rights of gay people, but you can't, you have to call it something, and I can't think of it yet. The president of the Comrade Club, maybe something like that.
Oh, president of the Comrade Club. Okay. Oh, God. President of the Comrade Club.
This is an opportunity of a lifetime for you, Vincent. I mean, I just don't know anyone who could do it without frightening anybody. I mean, if that person was a serious politician, I think people would get frightened. But you're so personable. I think I can imagine you being a great salesman and dealing with people and working at reception.
Working at reception. We could have private gay sex parties in the secular Quranist state. Oh, God. It's so much better on Spaces because people could just drop in and talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, Stephen is here, so I'll give him the link. I mean, the annoying thing about the Spaces is how glitchy it is. Suddenly you can't hear somebody talking to you, and suddenly you other people can't hear you anymore. But I thought that was a very successful chat we had yesterday with Elliot and Stephen. And it's, you see, it's searchable. That's the other great thing about it. And people can find it just by, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've given the link to Stephen if he wants to join us.
Oh gosh. I have to stop smoking cigarettes.
Well, it's not good for
I
you.
don't smoke that many, but
Do you ever use rolling tobacco?
no, I just buy these little cigarette individual packages.
Yeah, I mean, I eventually I found that.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've unmuted myself. Um, I think eventually I preferred rolling tobacco, and then I gave it up altogether.
Oh, you used to smoke?
Oh yes, and then I used
Oh, I
rolling
didn't know that. What
tobacco because it was
what
less
brand did you
unhealthy.
buy?
Because if you smoke like Marlboro, they're the worst. So if you hold the cigarette too close, close to yourself, you can hear it go snap, crackle, and pop. And clearly they put accelerants and some probably some sinister things to make the whole thing burn faster. Particularly in the rolling, and also to make it more addictive or something. And anyway, I guess when I do smoke, I smoke other people's cigarettes. But I'm glad I've given it up. I mean, and it wasn't that difficult. I just stopped buying them, and then I kind of weaned myself off it. But marijuana is weed is legal in your state, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is legal.
I was just thinking it'd be so nice.
It's not legal in Britain?
Yeah, it's not that difficult to get it, I suppose. It's just that I don't know anybody who smokes it now. So, but
Hmm.
then,
Well,
but then,
what do Muslims think about marijuana? See, like, yeah, these types of questions are all answered for Jehovah's Witness. And like not only so, um, there was a question. So, um, Jehovah's Witnesses specifically are told to stay away from drugs that involve smoke.
mhm.
Um,
What
but
about
also,
vaping?
well, the thing is, the question was raised: what if you eat marijuana wafers and you haven't smoked them? And they came on a ruling on that, and they said that it's a hypnotic, and so it's forbidden. You know, so it's settled. You know what I mean? Everything in the Jehovah's Witness religion is very settled, and there's an official answer to it. Whereas Muslims smoke weed like there's no tomorrow.
Well, it's, the Quran is quite nuanced because it says things like, "Do not come to prayer so drunk, so intoxicated, you do not know the meaning of words." So it's sort of like you can come if you're a little bit intoxicated. And I think the key word is intoxication rather than, whether you can snort it or smoke it or eat it or, inject it. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, what's up? What are we talking about tonight?
We were talking about who the gays are going to elect, but I will be back in 5 minutes, Claire.
Okay. And who are the gays going to elect? Did we?
Well, I was
figure it
telling.
out?
Well, I don't think.
The gays are
Vincent
going to
knows.
elect Kamala, aren't they? She's the lady in the trouser suit.
Well, the thing is, Vincent has said that his husband is a Trump supporter and is making him go and vote Trump. And
Okay.
and okay, I'm just saying you shouldn't allow who you want to have sex with to affect your voting intentions. Should you? Because it's like, no matter how sex addicted you are, you're not going to spend that much of your time having sex. And if there are no plans from either candidate to severely restrict your sexual activity, why should that even be a consideration? So
Yeah, I
so
get
I
it.
think
I
for
get it.
Americans it would be immigration and
I get
wars.
it. Oh yeah. I don't know. These elections are identity politics elections, really. At the end of the day, you're voting for an avatar who you believe is like on your side, and does anybody really think much different is going to happen either way? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe now with Kamala, at least the difference is starker. At least, we now have a minority and a female candidate versus, traditional straight white male. So,
Well, I
but
I
you're saying
think
forget all that, forget the identity politics side of it, and listen to what their policies are, aren't you? This is the spiel you're going to give me.
no. I was going to say that all elections are about identity politics, right? You know,
Oh, right.
he,
Okay.
I mean, what is identity politics but basically white people saying, why is our status so low now in our own countries? That is what identity politics is. And obviously identity
Well,
is linked to status.
no.
And this is what you guys are on about, isn't
No,
it?
not really. Identity politics was played first by my minorities. Okay, those are the people who started with identity politics. So it's really a late stage reaction to identity politics is to, it's like a post. I suppose it's an alt-right and post-Trumpian responses.
So are you
Identity
saying that
politics
the
on the right.
people that so you're going back to the civil rights movement when you talk about identity politics? Is that Malcolm
Well,
X, people like that?
all minority politics, black politics, civil rights politics, and of course LGBT is a minority. These are all identity politics, aren't they? By
Do you
definition.
include in it feminism?
Yeah, I do that. I do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose
When
technically.
it's as an explicit cause, when it's these single issue causes, absolutely. They've been built entire caucuses around one identity, don't they, in America?
Yeah, but it was feminism that basically let everything in, right?
Well, I get it. It's like a linear progression, isn't it?
I mean, it was
Start
the
with
thin end of the wedge.
yes. I mean,
Or
start
maybe
with
it all started with the French Revolution.
well, we could go forever back, couldn't we? I mean,
No,
it's
no, no, no,
turtled all the way
because
down.
I mean, if you think of E. Michael Jones, he blames everything on the Protestant, and so it's like, okay, let's go back to Christianity. um, in France, I guess, because it was only really serious for um, for monarchs when the French king was executed and beheaded by the French revolutionaries. And what did the French revolutionaries?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an important inflection point. Absolutely. Very significant impact. Yeah, absolutely. That was, you can't underestimate the significance of that point to dictate political history thereafter. But I mean, we could even go back further, Claire. We could say, like, what about Magna Carta, where the king is held to account, then to,
I don't think Magna Carta was any big deal. I mean, it was basically, um, um, what's his name? I've forgotten the name of the king now who repudiated it.
how, oh, who repudiated it?
Oh, King John, King John.
Well, wait. It wasn't repudiated. What do you mean repudiated?
Well, he was made to sign the Magna Carta by the barons who said,
Right.
no, you can't just come around and take our stuff. You have to
Yep.
ask us nicely or something like that, right? So and later he repudiated it, saying, well, you forced me, you all surrounded me, and you blah blah blah, and I was intimidated. I didn't mean it. You forced me. I
Is that?
don't
Oh,
agree.
well,
I
this
mean,
is news
look
to
it
me. I
up.
didn't. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that. But so what? So explain to me what happened there then, because as far as I understand, it was never actually repudiated as a document. I mean, it remains part of it in law to this day, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything except that, just get it in writing. I mean, the biggest thing about Magna Carta is effectively saying, get it in writing. But as any lawyer knows, getting it in writing doesn't mean, that what you thought was a contract is a contract, or whether the courts will enforce it, or whether it's enforceable. But yeah, it's a good start to get it in writing. Um, well, maybe you.
But more than
But
that, it was like I mean, it was a moment, another inflection, or really like the first inflection point of a king with full, like despotic rule being required to, I don't know, share some power, or not to, or to not have full, like, what's the words? Go on, help me out here.
an absolute monarch, because I mean, the whole idea
Yes.
of being an absolute monarch is that everything in the kingdom is was his, and he can do anything. He can sign people's death warrants. He can
Yes.
throw people into dungeons and take anybody's stuff. And the Magna Carta was really, it was his barons. It wasn't peasants or anyone. It's like his barons saying, you can't do this to us.
Yeah. So this was the start of like the dissolving of absolutism. Really, wasn't it?
Yes, so the barons sort of realized that they had to be united with each other against a king, because if they, were fighting each other, the king would, divide and rule, and get, the barons on his side to attack the barons who wanted their rights. And I mean the whole idea of the aristocracy, um, being, men of their word, and shaking the hand is enough to seal a deal worth, millions of pounds and whatever. It's like they had to do it more than the peasants, because they're very few, and they sort of know that, the peasants given half a chance would like to kill them and take their stuff. So they had to, have higher standards of, ethical behavior, because if they started fighting each other, it would be, curtains for them. So the whole idea is really how to regulate behavior amongst themselves. Like we can't just take each other's stuff whenever we feel like it. But anyway, it's a bit of a long story. I don't pretend to know, all the details of it. I just know that he did
Sure.
repudiate it at some point, and it became a point of contract law. So you can repudiate a contract like, well, I want out of this contract because I never freely agreed to it of my own free will, because there was duress and unfair pressure, etc., etc. And then when you can prove that you were under duress, you the court won't enforce the contract. So that is basically, and King John, when he repudiated it, said, well, I was forced into it, and I repudiate it now. But I mean, all these rules eventually led to the advanced legal system that we now have. Because you have all these laws and the exceptions to these laws and further principles made of the exceptions and blah blah, and then you get to this day, and of you know the law in theory being able to serve everybody's need, except that if the government is corrupt, then nobody gets the laws enforced fairly.
Yes. So, I mean, the only point I was making is, look, this history of gradual liberalisation and like the gradual encroachment of full suffrage and democracy. Uh, it was a long process of many steps and with big inflection points along the way. So we could say, like, look, Magna Carta signal like one of the first moments of a transition from like fiefdoms, or like the greatest fiefdom of all, the absolute monarch ruling over the entire land, and his barons saying, "We want a piece of it, please. We want, come on, come on. You've got to share." And then eventually say whatever. It culminates these ideas. I imagine swirl around the peasants, for a few hundred years, and ends up culminating in something like the French Revolution, where the peasants finally want, have had enough,
Yes.
etc., etc. And then we end up with full suffrage. We bring women into it. There's, of course, I think. Wasn't it in the French Revolution significantly? Was it after that the emancipation of the Jews happened there?
Yeah, because it was Napoleon who emancipated
Yeah,
the Jews. But
yeah.
but
So we have these various inflection points leading to full suffrage eventually, and then in America the civil rights moment too, with the with the blacks.
yes, but I mean, if you just look at power through religious groups, you will see that the Abrahamic religions have greater organizing power compared to the disorganized religions that are known as the Eastern religions, because there's no you shall do this and you shall never do that, and all this comes from the Ten Commandments, which give Jews their identity, and um, and the whole point of this legal system is that you develop um, I can't a legal system. Basically, the Talmud is a legal system, because the Talmud is about saying, well, whatever the Torah seems to say, well, you can't interpret the Torah, straight off. There are ways of interpreting it, and you can find it in the Talmud, and and all, the same with the Quran, because the Quran um, has accumulated a um, a history of different kinds of interpretation, but it's not just Judaism or Islam, but because English law comes from a combination of statute and case law and common law, and then they eventually stack up into something called the English legal system, and it assumes its own identity. And so this is how legal systems are made through tradition and history and narratives, like the Magna Carta. And it's all about writing. Eventually it is about the invention of writing. Because yes, you can, in theory, have a fair king who will give you justice, but it's still arbitrary justice because you don't write anything down. And when you write something down, then people will argue about what the words mean, and that is when you begin to have a legal system.
Yeah, I
And
get
all
it.
this
I
goes
get
back
it.
to religion and revealed scripture,
What's
laws
the
supposed to come
point?
from God.
Boil down the important point for me, because this is like making me want to commit Harry Carey
The
here. What the
important
fuck is the point?
point
Come
is
on.
that you can't do without religion because you need you bundle of white sticks who are easily broken individually. You need a
Don't call me
string.
the F slur, thank you.
Well, it applies
That's
to
not what she
everybody.
meant. That's not what she meant,
She
Stephen.
she did. She was calling me a bundle of sticks.
No, she said, well, she was talking about you white people as like a stick
You
without
white
being.
bundles of sticks. She thought it would go over my head. I get what I caught you, madam. I
No,
get what you were saying.
she
Admit
was
it.
she meant it like sticks need to be bundled together in order not to break.
She knows what she was doing. She was calling me an F slur.
I
Own
wasn't
it.
calling you a fascist. But
A
anyway,
bundle of
American public architecture is
no.
full of bundles of sticks, right? The Lincoln Memorial.
It's called a fasci. What is it called? A fasci?
I think it's pronounced fasces, but maybe I got it wrong. And it comes
Whatever.
from Rome. It
Look,
comes from Rome. It means legal
just to be
authority.
clear, a
Yeah.
bundle of it's not a fascist. A bundle of sticks is a faggot.
No, it's all no. Wait, Stephen, you've never seen the fasces. You've never seen. It's a
Yes, I
bundle.
have. But in
Heard the
English,
story.
in Old English, a bundle of sticks is known as a faggot. That's what Claire was doing. She was being cheeky.
Um, no, it's a food made of offal in balls, right? A faggot is something you eat as well, and it's made of offal.
Look, just admit it. I caught you out. You thought it'd go over my head. You thought I wouldn't know what you're meaning. I caught you out. I've shared my screen. Here we are. Look here.
A bundle of sticks bound together as fuel.
Yes, and you called me a white bundle of sticks. Come on, just admit
Okay,
it.
can we find a picture of the faggots that the British eat? What is a faggot in? What does faggot mean in cooking?
Oh, you see, you're equivocating now. Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of
Anyway,
ball,
I'm not as
large
stupid as I come across
meatballs.
sometimes. It's all an act. So my low IQ is all an act. Really.
Well, Stephen, you actually take pride in your low IQ, supposedly.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's a slur, Vincent.
Don't you
Hey,
take pride?
Vincent.
Don't you
Go
take
on.
pride in not being that? Don't you take pride in not being that smart?
No, I don't take pride in it. I acknowledge it, and I suppose it's also like a defense mechanism, so that to lower expectations before low people's expectations of me. So if I hit some good points, come out with some good ideas, then they'll think, oh, Well, that idiot actually sounded clever. But if you give so
Well, you're not that
could,
dumb. I mean, you're not like dumb dumb.
okay, Vince, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not that dumb. I didn't think you're like dumb. Maybe you're not like brilliant IQ, but I don't think you're dumb.
Oh, look. Anyway, I caught Claire out. She's embarrassed. She's exposed now. She should have just admitted it and moved on.
Now I'm going to find all the Fassi symbols all over the place.
Anyway, Vincent,
Particularly,
I was going to say to you, I forgot to mention the other day when you were talking about weight loss, right? You know, right? Do you know I could give you a system, a way? Wait, let me start with this. The other night you mentioned like all I need to do is like lose, what did you say, 20 or 30 pounds, and you'd be happy or something.
Yeah.
I could give you a method whereby you can lose temporarily 30 pounds in 5 days.
What is that, to cleanse my colon or something?
No, no. It's just to do what a fighter does pre-fight in preparation for a weight cut. So there's this
Okay.
there's this trick that we use to fool the body into expelling all our water weight in the week before a weigh-in for a fight, and we do this to lose up to about 10% of body weight. You can lose about 30 pounds of body weight in 5 days by doing this. I could sell
What?
this. I've often thought I could market this technique to women for their wedding days. Women are often like stressed. They're trying to lose weight to fit into their wedding dress, and they end up in tears on the day because they can't.
Well, what is
So
it? Give it to me. Lay it out on the line.
it's okay. It's really simple. I'll tell you for free, Vincent. Okay, it's really simple. In the week before, say you have a party on a Friday that you want to be slim for. It's on a Sunday. Starting on the Sunday, you cut out all carbohydrates. You can have a small amount of carbs in your food, up to about 30 grams a day. But starting on the Sunday, you cut out the carbs, you cut out all salt, and you drink 2 gallons of water during that day. Okay, during that day. Then on Monday, you continue with the same: no carbs, no salt. On Monday, you drink 1 gallon of water. Okay, on Tuesday, continue. Tuesday, you drink 1 gallon of water. Wednesday, you drink half a gallon of water. Thursday, you only can drink a quarter of a gallon of water. And on Friday, you can drink nothing. Just some like light sips to wet your mouth. And what this does is this tricks the body. There's like a hormone that regulates sodium in the body, so it regulates how much you pee. It's like a hose pipe that you've turned on full blast, and your body, because you're overloaded with water, wants to pee out all this water. It's thinking, oh my God, I need to pee. You'll be going to the toilet all the time, right? But and this hormone has a delay in it in switching off. So by you overloading on water at the start of the week and then cutting it right down to nothing by Friday, your body continues to pee out. So you pee out all the water in your body and you're not taking it in. And like on the Friday, you've lost up to about 30 pounds.
So just eat vegetables and meat.
Yeah, vegetables, meat, eggs, anything without carbs, basically, and no salt.
I might try that, Stephen.
Yeah, give it a go. Give it a go.
I'll give it a go because I need to lose weight for my Florida vacation. I'm going to a gay resort as fat as a whale. So,
Well, there you go. It's not nice. It's not the like Thursday and Friday are not nice. Okay, you're you're really thirsty. Okay, but I mean, give it a go. If you don't like it, all you have to do is start drinking, and the water. You get the water back in.
okay, well, I'll try it. I can't lose 30 pounds that way.
You can.
30?
You can. So you'll lose 20. You'll lose 20, right? The excess, the extra is usually lost with a combination of either some diuretics on the Thursday and Friday, so like dandelion root, or some, or there's chemical ones. What people take for water weight, they're just known as like diuretics, or you take hot baths and saunas to sweat out like the last few pounds of water.
But you said this is temporary. What, as soon as I start drinking again, I'll get fat?
Yeah, as soon as you start drinking again, you'll it'll all pile on you, but it'll soak up the water. Yeah,
But
this is what we do. Yeah, this is what we do to weigh in. You can keep it off a couple of days or a few days if you want.
well, that doesn't sound. If it's not permanent, I'm just going to diet. I've started dieting. I've done it before. I've lost 30 pounds before on diets, and then I gained it all back. But this time I won't gain it all back. I'll be good. I'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to lose the weight just for you, Stephen. I'm going to lose it.
I'm excited. Nothing would make me happier, Vincent. I encourage everyone to lose weight.
Yeah, I
When
mean, I'm
are you
not fat.
going?
When am I going on my vacation?
Hmm.
August 7th to the 6th.
August 7th to the 6th.
No, I'm sorry. August 2nd to the 8th.
Right, right. Is it a resort you've been to before?
Yes, it
Florida.
is. Yeah, it's one in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a gay resort, and hopefully there won't be too many attractive people there to make me look bad.
Will there be lots of sex parties there?
I don't know. There were no sex parties in the hotel when I was there, though somebody did put on a show. That, yes, it wasn't a sex party. We were all by the pool, and someone put on a show with the dildo and everything like that.
God.
Yeah, it was rather nice. We need more sex shows, more sex parties, more everything. You know, my whole problem is that, everyone knows I was a prostitute, but prostitution is like the pits of the sex industry because, you got to be with people who can't get laid, and that's why they're hiring you. And, I've had sexual experiences that were just gross, and, one time I cried.
Well, I guess it's the same for boys and girls.
Yeah, and you make less money, you make more money in porn. You have to have sex with hot guys. I feel like there's more opportunities. Prostitution can be lonely, especially gay prostitution. The thing about girl prostitution is they're usually organized, or not anymore because all these girls have OnlyFans and things like that. But, female prostitution usually would be organized by a man, whereas gay prostitution, it's usually just a single gay guy going online and selling himself.
Yeah, so they have to have a John, right? Which means a pimp to get the business and protect the.
Well, that's a pimp. In America, the John is who you have sex with, and then you
Oh,
have the
right,
pimp.
right. Oh, okay. So it's still called pimp in America. Right.
Yeah, it's
Well, I
called a
mean,
pimp.
yes, yes.
Steven could make money as Steven could make money as an online straight dom who doms people on camera. People make money doing that.
Who
I see
doesn't
him as a
what?
twink. Isn't he a twink?
Well, some guys are into being dominated by twinks.
Oh. So I
All
guess if you're an
kinds.
actor, you can do all the roles better, right? Acting lessons.
Yeah, well, I don't know
Chinese
why
food.
Steven's having a hard time with women, so he should just jump the fence.
I'm
But he
not having
wants
a hard time.
offspring.
I'm not having a hard time. It's like a meme that's got out of hand, really. People are all
And he
jumping
has
to
to
the
sort
wrong
of prove it
conclusions.
by using Tinder as content.
No, I've
You missed your
I've thought better about that
opportunity
argument.
in
Yeah.
Nevada, sadly. Because there's no sense of exoticity. It's like, oh yeah, I went on Tinder. I'm going to talk about it. It's you know kind of maybe you went to Amsterdam.
Ugh.
It's changed over the years. When I first went, there were actual women sitting in shop windows reading books,
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
and
Aren't most of these now, from what I've been told, though, now probably like Asian girls
yeah, yeah,
or
it was so sad. I mean, the most recent time, then it all became standing room only. Um, so that there'd be this, Thai girl who, had this radio play music that she'd be dancing to, kind of thing.
yeah.
So, but it would be, just a kind of sentry box. When before it was a proper, shop, a window scenario situation.
Yeah. I mean, Amsterdam has no appeal to me whatsoever. It's drugs and sex, and it's one of these like really
Out of control gay
multicultural
behavior too, I
cities.
saw.
Well, really. In what way? What happened?
It was in Central Station, and there was this, biker person in leather and chains, and he was kissing
Oh my
some
god.
man. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Steven's favorite.
You could say that.
Steven's favorite people.
But I mean, as long as you put these places aside
I
proper.
think I'm becoming quite tolerant, to be honest, Vincent. I mean, I've become. I was telling Claire, I've become really desensitized.
Well, yeah, I
If
mean,
this,
that's kind
if
of
this was like
supposed
2
to
years
be.
ago.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like, that's the point, is to desensitize people, to make it like, not a big thing to see these things. Desensitization. But, okay, let's say, okay, let's say the stereotype of gay men was that they were more masculine than men and more than straight men and more aggressive and more like into construction and more into science than straight men are. And, we're like, hardcore military, like insane asylum people. Do you think that people would respect us more?
Look, you'd probably get less. I think there'd be less problems from other men, whether society would or not. You might, be facing like an actual even greater backlash than like normal straight white men in the woke culture today, obviously because they hate masculinity. So but from other dudes, other regular guys, maybe you won't get such a hard time because it's not, look, seeing the act like in public can be visually disturbing, you know, used to be much more to me than, certainly than of late, I suppose. But just like the judgmental aspect of other dudes to somebody who's gay is I think fundamentally down to it being a lack of masculinity. Yes, you're onto something though.
Vincent, have you heard of the Spartans and how they organize themselves?
Yeah, and I know there was homosexuality there and things like that, and the Band of Thieves and stuff. I'm trying to get gay men to be more militant and scary because then nobody would hate us.
Well, the thing is, even if you were, being proper he-men and all that, you have the biological disadvantage of not being being able to easily conceive offspring.
Well, that needs to change, and as I've said, I've laid out a program for that, and that needs to change. And I agree, if it doesn't change, then we're in big trouble, and maybe secular Quranism or Islam or something's going to take over.
Hey, Vincent, I'm right in thinking that there was a period where like gay culture was different to how it's ended up. Like, am I right in thinking? I'm just thinking of like the Village People who sung YMCA or whatever, in thinking that like the representations that they put on were like of a butch guys, and like, one was a cop, one was a worker, one was a biker, like you were saying, and there was this element, but somehow we ended up with gays being like effeminate and the opposite. Am I making any sense here? At one point, there was a different culture, wasn't there?
Well, a little bit. So that's starting. So now, now the whole thing is like the new masculinity in the gay culture is to be DL, in the closet, married. Like, these are the new, like, okay. So in the gay community, it's not as bad, obviously, with straight people, the way straight people view it. But in the gay community, is the masculine man kind of like the hot goods? Yeah. And like, okay, whenever you go on Grindr, no one ever writes in their profile, no masculine men. Nobody writes that. People write no feminine men all the time. You'll find that. But, no one ever says, I don't want a masculine man. Very rarely will you find that. And usually when you do find that, it's what they call T for T or tranny for tranny. You know what I mean? And actually, do you know that there's a subset of DL masculine men that are against the T for T because they basically feel that the trannies should be fucking them? They basically think the trannies should be sleeping with them and not each other.
By DL, you mean down low?
Down low.
So, like, secretly on the side.
Secretly on the side, married, has a girlfriend. Like, this is like, it's fetishized. I don't agree with this fetish. I don't think that we should sleep with married men who are married to women. I mean, I've done it. I have done it. But, well, the thing is you can't avoid it. Let's say you cut out all the married men, all the DL men, all this, you would have a very small pool of men for you to sleep with.
Wow. I mean, you said this many times,
Well, it's true. Try being gay. I could get a married man any day of the week, especially when I was young, of course, I could get a married man any day of the week. The grinders are full of faceless men that don't show their face because they have wives, who can't host because they have wives.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a problem. These are not pleasant things to deal with in the gay community. The guy I went to the sex party with is married to a woman, but they don't have sex.
Is she aware of it?
No.
Oh.
But, if you're not having sex with your wife, you're not going to bring anything home to her. So I think it's less of a problem.
Do they have any children? Do you know? Do you know that?
They have one child.
Oh, wow.
Did he say why
gotta
he
be
didn't have
crazy.
sex with her?
I
He's
think,
gay. He's gay.
well,
I mean, come on. He had a child, and then that's it, isn't it? I imagine if you're gay, certainly when your wife turns into like a middle-aged housewife, it's going to be even harder to have sex with her.
Yeah,
well,
but he could go for other women.
Yeah, but he's gay.
Are people just sort of thinking it's easier to be gay than to deal with, women?
Ugh, I reject this hypothesis 100%, Claire. Don't you, Vincent? Claire's wrong about this, isn't she? People
Well, I don't
I'd
know.
add
Okay,
these
so
okay,
even
explanations,
well,
but they
no.
don't.
If you're already bisexual, okay, so what happens is a lot of these men are bisexual, but they say, okay, I'm bisexual, but I can forego men and be normal and have a family, and I just won't engage in the homosexual side of my personality and let me get married. But then they start getting older. This happens all the time. They start getting older and, they're not as much into their wife anymore, but they don't want to leave her. So it's more complicated to get involved with another woman. Women are more complicated. She can get pregnant, this and that. The third thing, she wants this from him. She wants that from him. Whereas, as opposed to that, he can just go on an app and find a willing homosexual who will sleep with him that day and not ask for anything from him. So if you're already bisexual, yes, it's probably easier, especially if you're married, to get involved with other men than it is to get involved with other women.
But that's not Claire's premise. Claire's premise is, there are straight men who are just using Grindr because it's easy access. That's not true. You have to have an inclination to start with, surely.
Yeah, you have to have the inclination. I don't believe, yeah, you have to have the inclination. There's no such thing as a gay man who cheats on his boyfriend with a girl.
No,
It's always
so the opposite isn't true either.
No, the opposite isn't true either. There's, it's just, if two gay men are married, what's the odds is that if he cheats, it's with another man. So, I mean, if you're really a straight man and, there's just, this idea that when men go to prison, they turn gay. That's not true. These men, they might have been primarily heterosexual, but there was always that spark in them of homosexuality. And when they get into jail, they have no other option. So they say, okay, well, I can go both ways. So let me go this way. Lots of men can go both ways, but publicly they want to be viewed as straight because you have more social status. You have a higher social status,
Yeah. No, I can see that. But Claire's premise is that it's fluid entirely, and I tell her that this is just based upon her own biases, just because she's learnt to be fluid, then she just is projecting that upon everybody. But Vincent, if she doesn't believe that straight people exist as an exclusive class, then I mean, you've got exactly the proof just in Vincent that you can be one way entirely. I mean, nobody doubts that Vincent, could ever be tempted by a woman.
No, I could never be tempted by a woman. I would get sick to my stomach. I don't like when they hit on me.
Yeah.
What do they do when they hit on you?
Well, they very rarely do because I'm an effeminate homosexual. I mean, I can only count on one hand how many times women have hit on me. I think I've been hit on by a woman about 4 times in my life.
And when they had, so let's think back to these encounters. Was it that they'd misread the signals? Like somehow they hadn't noticed that you were an effeminate homosexual, and then when you told them, they were like shocked? Or were they just trying anyway? They'd realized, but they were trying anyway.
They were trying anyway. They were trying anyway. Maybe I could have been bisexual. And there's also women who are attracted to gay men. That happens.
Interesting.
There's a whole subset. There's a whole culture. Well, you've heard of fag hag, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, these things exist, and I think it's very sad to call them fag hags. I don't call them that.
Do they actually have sex or hope to have sex with gay men or what?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they just like the company.
Hmm. Yes, I wonder what motivates them. I suppose, some might just not notice that they're gay and think, oh, he's a very nice, good looking man. And they don't have the instinct.
Well, I think there's also the natural aspect of that. So some gay men gravitate to hanging around with women, don't they?
Yes.
They will, because they'll be excluded from male, especially if they're outwardly gay, they'll struggle to find straight male friends. So the friendships that they'll form will be with girls.
Yeah. I mean, did I? Well, definitely when I was in school, definitely all the boys made fun of me. The girls were a little bit nicer. Not really, but a little bit. And so I did get along better with girls in school, even though I didn't really get along with anyone. But even when I went to high school in the city, and the gay thing wasn't as big. In my high school, I hung out more with girls, definitely. But outside of high school, I had gay friends, so I hung out with males who were gay. But I mean, I didn't hang. Well, and then there were straight men in my group. So in my friend group, there were a few gay people, and then there were straight men that were okay with us, and didn't give us any problems, and were nice to us, and were friendly to us. You can find them; they exist. They exist. I mean,
Sure.
they're around.
Sure.
They're around. They exist. And obviously they're usually liberals, and
Yeah, and it's much more common amongst Zoomer culture, of course. Zoomer culture is much more accepting.
yeah, they say
Like
one in six.
whenever you
One
think of
in
me,
six.
I'm way more tolerant than like somebody who's certainly a millennial or whatever, just by nature of
One in
being.
six, what is what?
1 in 6 Zoomers is LGBTQ.
Well, there. I mean, the
That's
question
why
is
we have
why are
birth
they?
rate problems.
No, why are they identifying that way? It's really because it's like, the in thing.
It'll never
It's a
be
way.
in. Being straight will never
No,
be
but
in.
okay, it's
I
the
mean,
in
being gay will
thing.
never be. Being gay will never
No,
be in.
but these people are identifying as LGBT. They're not saying they're gay. What they're doing is they're saying, in a way, it's like the new edgy thing, or the new. It's like edgy, but it's accepted by society, and so you're not allowed to disagree with it. You're not allowed. So it's how to explain. It's like I don't know. It's like being a goth back in the '90s or something, for them. I think they're doing
No,
it
I
to
just think that
be
it's so much
different.
it's so much easier to come out as gay. So a lot of them are coming out as gay, and they're not hiding it like the old generation did.
Well, there's definitely that's definitely a component. Sure, definitely a component. There's less people in the closet.
Yeah,
Society
there's
is
less.
also probably encouraging it more, so there are more turning that way, perhaps, if we believe that society culture can encourage it.
Well, I mean, you're going to have an ever lowering birth rate if you tolerate these things, right? I mean, if you tolerate it,
Not if they
there'll be
listen
more
to
of
the
it to tolerate.
prophet. If you listen to the prophet, all will be fine. But if you don't fucking listen to me, then yes, beware, buyer beware. You know what I mean? Like, Octong.
Baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm. I should put up a big sign, Octong. You know, warning. Follow the prophet. I'm like a prophet without any followers.
You could be the gay prophet of secular Quranism.
Ugh. Slam the door in her
It would
face,
work.
Vincent.
It would work.
Come on.
Because then people would ask so many questions, and then and Vincent would just explain it to them in his very reasonable way, and everybody would go away reassured. And
Claire,
nobody
what
else will
on
be able to
earth are you
do it.
talking about?
Well, Vincent can explain ideas very, well enough. Well enough. And
Look,
he's actually happy to talk, so he'd be great on a radio show.
look, if he put on a clown suit and a big red nose and, beeped a horn whilst he was saying, I'm a gay secular Quranist, then maybe it'd all make sense, but
He doesn't have to do that. He just has to say that for a few months, and the offers would come in. People would say, "What's that? Come on and come on our channel and tell us about it." And the Muslims would
hey,
come.
Vincent, how many not online, not what you're finding online, but in the actual real world, how many gay Muslims have you come across?
Well, I don't really have many Muslims that I interact with face to face. I'm not in a very Muslim area.
Okay.
If you go online, yeah, but I mean, if you're just walking down the street, I mean, how many gay Muslims? I mean, maybe in New York City you would meet a lot. I've seen, you've never seen Purple Jihad. You've never seen that?
No,
Is that a
I
TV
don't know what
show?
that is.
Purple Jihad is like gay Muslim jihad. Like, I don't know what they're jihading, but
Oh, it's a hashtag rather than a. I mean,
well, no,
HBO.
they wave signs at the gay parade. And have you ever seen Allah is Gay?
Oh no, really? It's a
Yes,
serious thing.
yes,
So
they have Allah.
how do they marry this contradiction then? Because obviously Islam explicitly forbids it, right?
Well, Stephen, what we were saying was about this problem of not being an organized religion, and Sunni
Yeah,
Islam is not organized, and neither is Judaism, and people don't
Yeah, I
understand the
get it.
concept.
like I said, you would never see a sign at a gay parade, Jehovah's Witnesses for gay rights, because they would be disfellowshipped. If anyone ever saw that, that person would lose their membership.
So what I'm interested in is how these Muslims, put this together in their head. Are they just afraid of leaving Islam? Do they still believe in it? How do they work it out in their head?
They're being hypocrites, and they're also not being honest.
But
They're not.
they will get Christians who outed themselves as gay, right? I mean, there was a time like, I want to go to a church especially for gay Christians, and they were catered for.
Yeah, but that's different.
No, it's not.
Christianity. No, Christianity has become, like you say, the churches have liberalized. They fucking accept anything. So you can understand in the mind of these Christians who are doing that, they're still going along with the faith. So you can understand in their idiot brain how they put it together. There's no contradiction. Well, the church accepts it, therefore there's no problem. I can be a gay Christian. But in the Muslim mind, I'm fascinated as to how they put these two things together. I believe in the Quran, it's literally the word of Allah, and I'm a gay Muslim.
Well, Mike Malzahn knows all about it. He knows all these Muslim groups much even better than me, and there's this Persian Muslim YouTuber called Muji, and he's basically saying, God is a liberal. He allows, this and that, and I interpret it in this and that way, making it okay. Um,
But
and
like we
as
said, there
neat,
is no interpreting the Quran, is there? Because it's the literal word of Allah.
well, obviously, it still has to be interpreted. And as Nietzsche says, interpretation is not a function of truth, but that of power, meaning that whoever has power will interpret the law in the way he prefers. And this is what's been happening in America, with a lawfare against, well, Trump and his supporters. That's what they've been doing.
When you just like turn within the same sentence, you just like turn the topic onto an end. You just like it's a beam of light. You just move it from the thing that it's pointed on completely onto something else like that. It just like causes me to have a brain freeze, and I'm like, what? Like
You
the
were talking
circle, it
about what?
spins in my head.
I haven't derailed the conversation. You were saying, what are
It
these gay
ended up
Muslims
saying something
doing,
about
being gay
Trump,
and saying
and I was like,
Allah
what?
is gay?
By the
And
time
I'm
you finished the
saying,
sentence and it was all about Trump, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is she on about?
you were talking about these Muslims saying Allah is gay, right? And I'm saying they can get away with it because they don't have a leader saying, we're going to punish you for your heresy. That is the problem of not being an organized religion, which is what I was talking to Vincent earlier. And I was saying there is a difference between these religions. The Abrahamic religions are organized religions because they're basically saying you can only be one of us if you've done this and that. And Hinduism and Buddhism is like everybody come, and come to the temple and whatever, and no rules. But the Abrahamic religions, you have to say the Shahada, you have to be baptized, you have to be circumcised, you have to be confirmed, you have to be blah, you know. So that's the difference between organized religion and the Eastern religions, which is basically, come to the temple when you're feeling upset and when you want to make a sacrifice because you're worried about your, love life or job or whatever. Because that is how they do it in the East. And I'm saying it's a cultural thing. Basically, all these rules are optional because if the law doesn't enforce it, people will opt not to obey it, right? And that's why I go on about you have to punish people who do these things that you think they shouldn't do. You can't just expect them to, restrain themselves when there is no law against it. And people are really so far gone now that I don't think they even understand what I'm saying. Or okay, they think I don't like it, therefore it's not going to happen.
I'm presenting what you do to my brain, Claire.
Vincent, I haven't been doing anything to his brain, have I?
No, share my screen. Come on, this is what you do.
It's going round and round and round and round. Won't it load? Won't it load? Is it going
No,
to load? Oh,
no, it
okay.
won't. That's it.
Vincent, you don't find me hard to understand, do you?
No, I don't find you hard to understand. No, I don't find you hard to understand. I find you easy to understand, and I don't understand what people's problem is I think people are just uncreative. I told my therapists about you and they think you're crazy. And
Why? Do they say why?
I don't know. They said that it was just, well, it's the same thing that these Muslims say. That makes no sense to take the laws of the Quran without God. Like, that makes more sense, actually. Leave out the mysticism. If somebody came up with a good idea, then, like, leave out the mysticism. Like I do with the occult. I steal from the occult. Like, okay, the occult works a little bit because there's something to the personality types in astrology. Now, not everyone fits into their perfect astrological personality, but if you do, it'll work for you. So what I say is, instead of doing it by your birth chart, choose which astrological sign best suits you. And if you did it that way, then it would be actually work, and it would be it would work much better. And so I've left out the mumbo jumbo, and I've taken in the actual wisdom that's there. So I've done it myself. And, people are just dumb, stupid, uncreative.
I don't understand what your point about choosing your horoscope. Can you explain again? I'm sorry.
Okay, instead of doing it by your birthday, choose the astrological sign that best suits you. That best, I happen to be a Capricorn, and I happen to fit very well with Capricorn. But let's say I didn't. Let's say I was more of an Aries. I would just choose Aries, and then I'd say, okay, these are the type of people that I get along with and not get along with, and this and that.
Okay, so would you say I'm definitely, whatever zodiac sign you're going to say? I mean, do you know it well enough to say Claire's whatever?
No, I don't. What is your astrological sign?
I'm not going to tell you, because then that would spoil the whole game, right?
Well, hold on. Let's do it with numerology, because that's a lot. Hold on. I have a book here. Let's say. Okay. Let's do it, because I don't want to dig and start going through astrological books now, because that would take a while, but let's look at this. So.
Okay, I'll be away for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, let's see. I guess maybe you're. I don't know. I would have to show you these. I would have to show you I'd have to have you pick which one of these. But maybe you're a 9, humanitarian, courageous, competitive, resourceful, spiritual, impulsive, argumentative, heartless, narrow-minded.
What star sign is that?
Let's see what else.
I mean, it's usually very flattering, isn't it?
It's usually what?
Very flattering. They always say nice things about your zodiac signs and your horoscope.
Well, it also says your negative sides. It also has your. Well, this isn't a good system either. Hold on.
No, I mean, I just don't see what all the.
Hold on. Let me look at something else.
Okay. I mean, if it's all about addressing our character defects, I mean, there's a simpler way of doing it, right?
Well, it does your character defects and your character strengths. So let's look at something.
And what you propose. Okay.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think you are analytical, articulate, astute, authoritative, clear-headed, clever, dignified, direct, discerning, dispassionate, equitable, ethical, even-handed, forthright, frank, honest, honorable, impartial, incisive, intellectual, just, keen-minded, knowledgeable, learned, literate, logical, lucid, magisterial, mental, moral, objective, observant, outspoken, penetrating, perspicacious, quick-witted.
Perspicacious.
What does perspicacious mean?
Perspicacious means, I think, able to see things quickly. I think that's what it means.
Perspicacious, quick-witted, rational, reasonable, smart, trenchant, truthful, unbiased, unprejudiced, well-informed, witty. And let's see, your negatives would be abstruse, aloof, arrogant, autocratic, biting, blunt, cold, condescending, controlling, cool, critical, cutting, detached, distant, dogmatic, domineering, high-handed, imperious, insensitive, intolerant, judgmental, opinionated, overbearing, over-intellectualizing, patronizing, remote, standoffish, thoughtless, unaffectionate, unfeeling, unresponsive, unsparring.
Oh, where'd you get all that?
It's you're basically your elemental signs. You want to hear what I am exactly? Because
Yes,
I fit
please.
with water real.
So what zodiac sign was that you just read from?
Fire, you're fire.
Okay.
You're fire, and I'm water. Aesthetic, affectionate, agreeable, amiable, benevolent, calm, caring, compassionate, concerned, considerate, diplomatic, dreamy, emotional, empathic, forbearing, gentle, good-hearted, gracious, healing, humane, imaginative, inner, intimate, introspective, intuitive, joyful, kind, loving, mellow, merciful, mild, nice, pacific, patient, peaceful, perceptive, psychic, quiet, refined, responsive, romantic, sensitive, soft, spiritual, subjective, sweet, sympathetic, telepathic, tender-hearted, tolerant, understanding, wise. And my negatives are broody, delicate, doleful, escapist, fanciful, fragile, frail, gushy, huffy, hypersensitive, hysterical, impressionable, indolent, introverted, lazy, molden, melancholic, moppish, moody, morose, narcissistic, over-emotional, over-refined, petulant, passive, sulky, sullen, temperamental, thin-skinned, touchy, vapory, waspish, wishy-washy.
Uh-huh.
Does that sound like me?
It does sound. Yeah. So how many kinds of signs are there in the zodiac? There's fire and water, and is that it?
This isn't the zodiac. This is elemental. This is elements. So there's water, fire, air, and earth. Maybe Stephen is earth. Able, adept, adroit, assiduous, big-hearted, capable, careful, cautious, competent, concrete, conscientious, constant, dependable, determined, dogged, down-to-earth, efficient, enterprising, factual, firm, generous, handy, hardworking, industrious, loyal, magnanimous, meticulous, nurturing, orderly, organized, painstaking, persevering, practical, productive, proficient, prudent, realistic, reliable, resourceful, resolute, resourceful, responsible, sensible, skillful, solid, stable, stalwart, staunch, steadfast, steady, sturdy, supporting, tenacious, thorough, trusting, trustworthy, unwavering. His negatives are bullheaded, colorless, compulsive, conventional, drab, gloomy, grim, grinding, hard-headed, humorless, inflexible, intractable, intransigent, materialistic, mullish, obdurate, obsessive, obstinate, ordinary, overcautious, overorganized, pedestrian, perfectionist, pertinacious, pessimistic, pig-headed, prim, prosaic, rigid, staid, stiff, stiff-necked, stodgy, stubborn, timid, unadventurous, unbending, uncompromising, unexciting, unimaginative, unquestioning, unromantic, unspontaneous, unyielding.
Sounds like Stephen.
I'm all those things, except mine is mudded with ADHD, so I don't have the luxury of like all those ones about being organized and like competent and all that. But maybe the others.
Does that sound like you?
It sounds more like me than the one that you read for you or the one that you read for Claire. I'll give you that.
What about this one? Well, maybe this actually, you could be, actually, maybe this is more you. Adventurous, aggressive, ardent, attractive, audacious, avid, bold, brave, buoyant, charismatic, charming, cheerful, confident, courageous, creative, daring, eager, ebullient, energetic, enthusiastic, exuberant, extroverted, fiery, forceful, heroic, inspiring, intrepid, inventive, magnetic, optimistic, original, outgoing, passionate, risk-taking, self-assured, self-confident, undaunted, valiant, wholehearted. Negatives would be aggressive, brash, cocky, daredevilish, devil-may-care, foolhardy, hasty, headstrong, heedless, hot-headed, hot-tempered, impatient, impetuous, impulsive, imprudent, incautious, irresponsible, nervy, overconfident, overzealous, precipitous, presumptuous, rash, reckless, restless, rootless, self-absorbed, superficial, thoughtless, unprepared.
No, I don't see myself in that one. Yeah, I'm much too contemplative, I think, to be any of those things. I'm more likely to be the other one with
So
like
that was Earth, and the one
Earth,
you just read is what?
air.
Air. Okay.
yeah.
And that's
Earth
4.
sounds more likely just complicated with like mental illness or ADHD.
Yeah, so, okay, here's the thing, that usually under the occult, these would be assigned to you based on your birth year, your birth number, instead of actually just saying, hey, I get along well with this. So, like, I get along, or I feel like I'm this trait, or I feel like I'm that trait. Like, I commented on Claire as fire because she seems like it, not because it's her birth year or whatever it is.
Well, you made a pretty accurate assessment of the earthiness of Stephen's personality.
Yes,
And
and the
I
water.
think you fitted yours, in my view.
Yeah, I fit mine. I did fit mine. Some people some people are a mix of too many traits and it's hard to pinpoint them.
And
Some
what
pe-
are we supposed to do with this information?
Well, it would help you realize who you get along with best. It helps you realize yourself, and then you can have like situations like, let's say, okay, let's see what me versus you is. Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, so hold on one second.
It's interesting that Eliot has very pronounced views about our zodiac signs.
Hold on.
But I suppose if you took Judaism,
Claire is a
Islam,
Scorpio.
Okay, so Claire is outer, I'm inner. Claire is aggressive, I'm passive. Claire is extroverted, I'm introverted. Claire is passionate, I'm tender. Claire is eros, I'm agape. Claire is intense, I'm mild. Claire is energetic, I'm restful. Claire is militant, I'm peace-loving. Claire is individual, I'm more about the group. Claire is competitive, I'm cooperative. Claire is actions, I'm feelings. Claire is overt, I'm covert. Claire is direct, I'm indirect.
well, it sounds like a reasonably good partnership.
Yeah, so let's see what Stephen and Claire are. Hold on one second. I'm just looking. Hold on. Okay, so Stephen would be sedate. Claire would be showy. Stephen is old. Claire is new. Stephen is secure. Stephen is security. Claire is risk. Stephen is deliberate. Claire is impetuous. Stephen is perspiration. Claire is inspiration. Stephen is cautious, Claire is adventurous. Stephen is conservative, Claire is liberal. Stephen is traditional, Claire is original. Stephen is detailed, Claire is big picture. Stephen is thorough, Claire is cursory. Stephen is slow, Claire is fast. Stephen is pessimistic, Claire is optimistic.
That sounds about right.
Let's see me in Stephen. Hold on. Stephen is matter, I'm spirit. He's science, I'm religion. He's down to earth, I'm dreamy. He's reality, I'm fantasy. He's tough, I'm delicate. He's firm, I'm flexible. He's hard, I'm soft. He's practical, I'm romantic. He's matter of fact, I'm sentimental. He's work, and I'm play.
You know, there could be something to this. Couldn't there, Claire?
I think so.
It's interesting that you're coming up with this. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't necessarily. Well, I don't believe in the zodiac. But
Well,
I suppose I can believe.
this is the zodiac repurposed. So instead of me being like, Stephen, what's your birth year? I'm like, Stephen, you fit this, so therefore you get along with this, and you're not going to get along with this or this.
Look, I can accept that there are particular personality types. So I don't doubt that. You know, where whatever, there's like 6 things, and then we're all like more zoned into like one of these 6 things. I can accept that understanding. And at some point somebody labeled these earth, air, water, fire, or whatever.
Yeah, I could give some. Hold on, let's see if this. It's these systems aren't perfect. Like the air sign. Like I have a numerology book. Let's see. This is more. Do you want to hear more or no?
Yeah. Let's hear more.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So Claire, let's do Claire. Positive, creative, leadership, forceful, inventive, ambitious, daring, active, visionary, dynamic, and independent. Negative is bossy, headstrong, fearful, selfish, bullying, egotistical, domineering, tyrannical, impatient. She would also, let's see. Oh, wait. Where did this? Oh, okay. Let's see. Proud, active, optimistic, joyful, creative, ambitious, conscientious, popular, expressive, sociable, and youthful, boastful, wasteful, superficial, gossipy, dictatorial, careful, extravagant, scheming. Organizer, energetic, dynamic, inspirational, good opinion of self, leadership-oriented, daring, universal in outlook and humane, quick-tempered, impulsive, daydreamer, narrow-minded, and combative, emotional, lack of direction. Doesn't all, but okay. Stephen would be compassionate, magnetic, dependable, affectionate, concerned, loving, artistic, responsible, and caring. Obstinate, dogmatic, stubborn, doubtful, irresponsible, and uncaring. And also demanding, powerful, faithful, consistent, practical, capable with money and finance, authoritative, strong-willed, and loyal, misunderstood, cruel, greedy, morbid, destructive, revengeful, and hateful. These don't sound as dead on, do they?
No, not necessarily.
No, these ones don't sound as dead on. This numerology book, but the elements are much better. Yeah, that numerology book I got. But so basically I'm trying to craft like a system that people can do. So basically I'm saying, get your favorite astrology book, get your favorite numerology book, and instead of doing your birth date, read it and then say, okay, I'm an Aries. So that means I'm going to get along with this personality type, but I'm not going to get along with that personality type. That means I like these things, but I don't like those things.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. That makes sense to me. Like I struggle to believe that the date that I was born, infects or molds my personality out to be a certain way. I don't believe that, but I can believe. I know, is this like Jungianism or something, that there are like these clusters of personality types and we're all like, more or less one of them, and at some point people have identified them. I can get that.
Yeah, like recurring personality types that recur over and over, and then you might be one of them. So basically, I'm trying to develop a system that is like basically helping you through your life. And then you have the 7 laws of secular paganism, right? Idolatry, free if you want to blaspheme, you can blaspheme, no sexual regulation of adult sexual intercourse, no murder, no theft, do not abuse animals, set up courts of justice to impose these laws. So if you have those 7 laws plus a system that helps you get through life, you know, maybe you can get somewhere. It just, you know, I have to make something to get people out of Christianity and Islam.
But I mean, isn't the most rational way to say, have an honest assessment of our characteristics and say, well, this bit needs fixing. I'm too hot tempered. I'm too lazy. I'm too, actually, Christians have this um, concept of the 7 deadly sins. So I think everybody is sort of, in some way guilty of, one of them in varying degrees. Anger, pride, envy, gluttony, greed, sloth, lust.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah,
we don't
at
need to
some
make it
point.
that complicated. It's sort of like, and if you don't know what your faults are, just ask anybody who's close to you and they'll be, I'm sure, happy to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that would be a simpler and more quicker and more accurate way of addressing our character defects. Like someone's go, oh, but you're so untidy. Oh, you're always late. Blah, 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 whatever.
I'll be honest with you. I was surprised how accurate, how fitting actually what Vincent was coming out with was. It
Yes,
really kind
about
of surprised
you.
me. Well, no, just I mean, I was sat here listening, thinking, I'll just mute. I'll go make a drink. This is going to be all nonsense here. It's going to be a load of bullshit. Like whenever George brought up Zodiac stuff, and I was just like, I don't have time for this bullshit. But then he starts reeling out yours, his, and mine, and I think, well, neither one of those lists, like you couldn't put the list that he thinks would be me on you. Everybody would know that'd be very different. So they really do. When you think about it, we are close. They are like lists that much more match each of our personalities than either of the other, which is an
Yes.
interesting thing.
I'm trying to think of someone who is air. I'm trying to think of, yeah, I'm trying to think of someone who is air.
What about Claire's friend, Crazy Sam?
Is he analytical, articulate, astute, authoritative? Well, okay, maybe he is this clear-headed, clever, dignified, direct, discerning, dispassionate, equitable, ethical, even-handed, forthright, frank, honest, honorable, impartial, incisive, intellectual, just, keen-minded, knowledgeable, learned, literate, logical, lucid, magisterial, mental, moral, objective, observant, outspoken, penetrating. No, you don't think he's that?
No.
Do you think
No.
he's like? Do you think he's like Claire? Do you think he's fire like Claire?
Probably, yeah. I thought I'd heard a lot more that were like being like wild, outrageous, impulsive, loud, aggressive. I thought I heard a lot more things that were like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's fire then. He's more like Claire. Yeah. Air is kind of more like some kind of like administer or something, like some kind of like Air is I always find air to be annoying in like at least in my astrology and elemental books and stuff like that. It's kind of always, well, it's supposed to be more mixed quality, so it's harder to get a standard personality type out of it. But, then you can apply it to life and you can say either someone else fits into this, or you can say, okay, well, if this is what's going on, here's how I respond to it. And, with Claire, you want to talk about something that's like Claire is new and futuristic, and Stephen is traditional and, the way things used to be.
Again, that's probably true, isn't it? Like Claire's literally a revolutionary.
Yeah, Claire is a revolutionary and you're more of a trad.
Interesting. It is. More. I like what you said, Vincent. Look at these personalities. Pick one that most suits you, and like forget the idea that you were assigned these just because of the date that you were born on.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what I'm trying to put together for people to basically help them through their lives. And lots of I had a tarot deck that was basically like a religion. It was like the card readings were so profound and deep, and they were so profound and deep. I'm like, well, if you just listen to these cards, if you just listened to them, as advice. So instead of I would recommend, instead of just flopping tarot cards down, arrange them in ways that you think they should be, or, look through the book and find a card that represents the situation. And then you can find, complementing cards. You can find, opposing cards, neutral cards. It's you mix and match them.
So yeah, I'm liking this. So what you're saying is that there's a long tradition of understanding personalities and our connections within them, like the avatars live through all of us, and we're all more drawn to particular ones. People have figured this out over time. They've represented them in these different esoteric traditions, such as the zodiac or personality or numerology. But at some point, we've got it all mistaken that this isn't something that we should be using to divine with. It's for divination. Instead, we should just have a look at them all and see, well, this represents me the most. I can now use this information to find out other connecting things, within this body of information. That makes much more sense to me. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, that's my whole thing. Let's say I could maybe give you, give me 1 second. Yeah, we could actually, let's see something for a second.
Because it's just absurd to me when somebody says to me, give me your birth date and time and I'll draw up exactly your fucking personality. I'm like, no, you won't. That's nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, what is, oh. Hold on. Okay, let's look at something. Here. So, okay. So let's read Stephen a little bit. Let's say Stephen is enterprising, adept, reliable, supporting, and steady. Makes any venture successful, finds opportunity everywhere, attracts wealth, takes an idea and makes it work, is natural manager and business person, has the Midas touch, is informed about practical matters, has a wide range of natural abilities, has quick reflexes, is skillful with his or her hands, handles any situation competently, meets all commitments and promises, assumes responsibility, is dependable and unfailing, can be counted on in a crisis, serves as a rock for others to lean on, encourages the accomplishment of others, readily jumps in to help, is a philanthropist, gives generously of time and attention, sponsors worthwhile projects, works towards a goal with firm resolve, avoids mood and behavior swings, has regular habits and activities, maintains a calm, even approach, is a stabilizing influence. So then, I mean, I'm using tarot in order to basically try to get you. So let's say, oh, okay, I see something. Oh, it doesn't have a match. Oh, these don't have matches. Well, did that sound like you?
Look, it sounded like what I'd like to be, but ADHD complicates all of that. Lots of that are like, I'm just, no.
It didn't sound like you?
No, maybe if I was medicated, it could be those things. Like everything I touch does not turn to gold. I'm only dependable because I refuse to make obligations now. So
Well, wait, hold on. You don't think you're enterprising, adept, reliable, supporting, and steady?
yeah, I can go with that. I can go with those.
Okay, can you go with nurturing, big-hearted, down-to-earth, resourceful, trustworthy?
Yes, I could go with those.
Could you go with, okay, in a positive, are you unwavering? In a negative, are you stubborn?
Probably.
Okay, cautious and unadventurous.
Probably.
Thorough and obsessive.
Probably.
Realistic but pessimistic.
Probably, yeah.
Hardworking but also grinding.
Yeah, that's fine. There's some
Okay,
competence ones that come up though.
And then would you say your mottos are things like have an effect, be practical, be prosperous, be trusting and trustworthy?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
that's
see.
me.
Let's see, Claire. Claire, are you there?
Yes, present.
Okay, let's say, Claire, are you creative, inspiring, forceful, charismatic, and bold?
I like to think I am.
Are you attractive, wholehearted, energetic, cheerful, self-assured?
I also like to think so.
Are you charming but superficial, self-confident but cocky, daring but foolhardy, adventurous but restless, passionate but hot-tempered?
I don't think I'm restless.
What?
I don't think I'm restless.
You're on the internet 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Is that the sign of restlessness? Or just
Well,
being sort of happy
how do
where
you
I
fit?
am?
How do you
Okay.
fit rest in?
Claire,
What?
would you like to go?
Oh.
Claire, would you like to go a little deeper or no?
Sure, let's go deeper.
Develops innovative projects and ideas, opens up new areas of experience, has natural artistic ability, uses self-expression for useful purposes, masterminds new strategies, is original and inventive.
Sure.
I like to think so.
Communicates enthusiasm, creates an atmosphere of excitement, sets an example others want to follow, instills confidence, is a powerful natural leader.
Well, that's very flattering.
Seems to dominate the environment, has a commanding presence, is assertive when necessary, earns respect and willing compliance, carries authority naturally.
Well, that'd be so nice.
Is often showy and theatrical, enjoys making the gesture with flair, naturally becomes the focus of attention, magnetically attracts others, is watched, imitated, and talked about.
It's just so flattering. I love it.
Okay, is intrepid, is willing to take chances when the stakes are high, confronts opposition directly, dares to stand and be different, is unconcerned with what others think, has the courage of his or her convictions.
Oh yeah, you can give her
Wow,
those.
who's a
You know,
superhero?
give her
I can
those.
keep going. Do you want me to keep going?
Yes.
Okay. Is appealing and popular, creates a powerful first impression, makes friends easily, has great sex appeal, is warm and outgoing.
Ooh, sounds
Is
good.
is loaded with enthusiasm, tackles a task with total dedication, gives the utmost in any situation, is open and sincere, doesn't hold anything back. Leads a busy and active life, is vigorous and strong, radiates health and vitality, has an inner vibrancy, is a natural athlete.
I don't know
Oh
about being a
my
natural
god,
athlete.
I'm
Is
nearly choking
optimistic
here.
is optimistic and upbeat, has an encouraging word for all, brightens whatever room she or he enters, has a warm and sunny disposition, can shake off the blues easily.
This is so
I'm gonna have
flattering,
to mute.
Vincent.
Quietly demonstrates self-confidence, handles any situation with aplomb, can be easily rattled or provoked, is is spontaneous and gracious in defeat, has faith in his or her abilities.
Well, that sounds
Claire
good.
wants Claire wants to know where can she buy this book.
It's all on. It's online, Claire. I can send it to you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's actually learntarot.com. Go to learntarot.com.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's tarot.
So
Okay.
yeah, these are tarot cards that instead of just laying out a tarot card, I'm laying out tarot cards I think that apply to you. Do you want me to keep going? Because I can keep going.
Yes, please.
Is physically attractive, focuses on style and appearance, disarms opposition with a smile, can be thoughtless and insensitive, is sexy and seductive, pursues sexual conquests, generates glamour and excitement, avoids deep or serious matters, is honey-tongued, may say or do what is expedient.
I'm not sure
Total
that's Claire.
what?
I'm not sure that one was Claire.
Totally lacks self-doubt, overestimates abilities, has a can-do attitude, may boast and brag, is convinced of his or her talents, exaggerates accomplishments, is self-assured at all times, is brash and nervy, doesn't sweat the small stuff, is sometimes presumptuous.
Oh yeah, we can give her those.
Will risk anything without fear, is reckless and rash, will tackle what others avoid, will endanger self and others, is the first to volunteer for danger, doesn't give danger due respect, loves a hero, is impetuous, boldly goes where no one has gone before, is a daredevil. Loves travel and new experience, is never content to be still, seeks novelty and change, can set down roots or make ties, can't set down roots or make ties, makes things happen, lacks inner peace and serenity, rises to every challenge, won't step to smell the roses, is footloose and fancy free, must have constant stimulation. Is easily roused to action, angers easily, feels strong loyalties, is too ready to fight, feels everything powerfully, lashes out when riled, takes a vocal stand, often acts without thinking, jumps in with both feet, may have a chip on his or her shoulder.
I
She's
don't think I have
definitely
a
got
chip
one
on
of
my
those.
shoulder.
Okay,
Oh,
What
let's
chip?
I was
do
gonna say the opposite.
let's do the last one. Takes a novel approach, be original, invent, find a new area of self-expression, use your art, come up with a solution, go in a new direction. Jump in wholeheartedly, get excited, show optimism, be the first to volunteer, be passionate, get your blood flowing. Tackle a challenge, say, yes, I can, believe in yourself, stretch your envelope, move beyond doubts, focus on success, know that there's a will, there's a way, know that where there's a will, there's a way, take risks, be daring, having an adventure, avoid the sure thing, take assertive action, be a leader, overcome fear.
Well,
It's okay, but I think nothing bet the first like three that you did where you identified Claire's this, you're that, and I'm this.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That, that,
But
that
Claire
was
did.
that was so spot on.
This doesn't sound as spot on.
It sounds quite good. Yeah, I suppose that there's just just one or two that might be not that I would completely agree with, but I suppose generally I mean when people say positive things, it's kind of hard to say, oh no, that's not me at all. So I guess I'm not the most objective person.
Well, do you want to hear more about me? And you'll say, well, that's definitely like, I think that out of all of it, that sounds the most like you, right? Do you want to hear
It
I
more
could
think
be.
about?
the first thing of all that you said about Claire, that was spot on.
Okay, are you guys getting tired of this?
No, no, no. Well, I'm not. Read your own.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, wise, calm, diplomatic, caring, tolerant, gives a good advice, has a deep grasp of human nature, teaches thorough loving attention, knows what other needs for growth, seeks right to the heart of the matter, understands many levels of experience, contains his or her composure, which is not true, has a quiet influence on others, is emotionally stable and secure, not true, keeps his or her head in a crisis, kind of, never seems nervous or tense, can balance the needs of many people, keeps everyone working together happily, can diffuse a tense situation, achieves goals through subtle influence, says just the right word at the right time, responds to emotional needs, is a natural healer and therapist, takes actions to help those in need, feels compassion for the less fortunate, does volunteer and charity work, has open and broad-minded views, accepts the limitations of others, is comfortable with all types of people, allows others their freedom, is patient in circumstances and trying circumstances.
Can diffuse awkward situations kind of springs to mind. I sort of remember that one for some reason.
Turns away wrath with caring, is unconditionally accepting, is sensitive to the feelings of others, dispels anger and hate, has infinite patience, is easily moved by others' pain, yes, reacts with sensitivity and compassion, is kind and gentle with all creatures, can never turn away someone in need, feels what others are feeling, is always tuned to the emotional undercurrent, senses the climate of the situation, is guided by the heart, trusts inner sense of what is true, understands without having to ask, is open to the unconscious, has a well-developed sixth sense, can have a telepathic bond with another, has a finely tuned sensibility, is a natural medium, feels oneness with God and the universe, has reference for all life, finds joy in communion, appreciates the deeper meaning of life, sees the world as a holy place.
I'd say so deep down. Although I
Idealize,
suppose,
oh, go ahead.
well, I suppose you might object to this oneness with God kind of thing, but I think you have a kind of oh, divine sense or something.
Idealizes love, lacks self-restraint, emphasizes feeling, is often jealous, concentrates on the poetry of life, tends to be gushy and melodramatic, remembers special occasions, blows hot and cold in affections, expresses sentiments beautifully, brings flowers but forgets to put gas in the car, can tap the fertile unconscious, indulges in idle daydreaming, looks beyond the obvious, has big ideas that come to nothing, never takes the mundane path, has an unrealistic approach, spins marvelous tales, has an overactive imagination, is visionary, can shade the truth, is aware of the moods and feelings, is prone to mood swings, helps others open up, can be perpetual and sulky, responds deeply to life, gets melancholy and depressed, understands the pains of others, broods excessively, is tactful and diplomatic, takes offense easily, appreciates beauty in all forms, leaves dirty work to others, seeks the finest, can't face unpleasantness, creates a pleasant environment, lacks robust good health, understands subtlety, emphasizes style over substance, is suave and gracious, gets overwhelmed by pressure, values the inner life, focuses inward to excess, tries to understand why, avoids active participation, questions motivation, is driven to self-examination, seeks self-improvement, exaggerates personal feelings, sees below the surface, can't relax around others.
I guess that's a mix of you. But I mean, what would you say is your problem? I was thinking, your problem is your recurring depression, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm more emotional than you are. I have water is of emotion. Fire is emotion. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'll find out what that is. But wait, I'm not done with mine. I'm almost done.
Mm-hmm.
Be moved or touched. Let your feelings show. Respond to beauty. Be sentimental or romantic. Shed your detachment. Let your heart lead the way. Receive guidance from within. Act on a hunch. Remember your dreams. Have a psychic experience. Experience direct knowing. Trust your gut reaction. Start or renew a love affair. Meet someone you're attracted to. Get closer to someone. Be beyond formalities. Have a special moment of togetherness. Solidify a friendship. Share something personal. Make a thoughtful gesture. Express sympathy and understanding. Forgive yourself. Forgive someone who has hurt you. Apologize to someone you have hurt. Reach out and touch someone. Mend a broken relationship. Brighten someone's day. Respond with caring rather than anger. Refuse to judge or condemn. See, these represent me a lot more when I was young. Like, I think this is like who I am at my base and core, though I've changed over the years. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I mean, I think most people would agree that you're a kind person. What are you wrapping up, Stephen?
Oh shit! I thought I was muted. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, it's like a little sellotape
Oh
and,
my god,
a
sorry about that.
tube.
I thought I
Okay,
was on mute. Yeah, it's somebody's birthday tomorrow,
mm,
so I'm wrapping a
that's
gift.
nice. Mm.
Sorry, I thought I was on mute. I was
So,
listening though.
and then you can use it. So let's say, okay, Claire is starting and she's trying to start a new religion, right? So she's going out on a journey and she's starting. So you start with the Fool. The Fool. So and this
Hmm.
is in tarot. So you're entering a new phase, striking out on a new path, expanding horizons, starting something new, beginning an adventure, going on a journey, heading into the unknown, living in the moment, letting go of expectations, doing the unexpected, acting on impulse, feeling uninhibited, surprising someone, feeling carefree, trusting the flow, staying open, letting go of worry and fear, feeling protected and loved, living in joy, recapturing innocence, believing, accepting your choice, taking the foolish path, pursuing a pipe dream, being true to yourself, taking a crazy chance, trusting your heart's desire. So in order to reemphasize that, you want to be having faith in what is going on, going with the flow. You want to be innocent. You want to have faith. You want to have trust. This is about rebirth. It's a new start, expanding horizons, going to the unexplored territory. There's a lot more there to go into. Following convention, routine. So these are the opposites. You're not following convention or routine. It's not an ending. It's not closing down. You're not cynical. It's not lacking faith. It's not blocking off experiences. It's not feeling intense, not holding back, different than order and regularity.
Hmm.
So this would be the advice for you to take since you're starting like basically a new journey.
And the advice is to be realistic.
No, the advice would having faith in what is, going with the flow, innocence, faith, trust, rebirth, new
Hmm.
starts, expanding horizons, going into unexplored territory. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, we could play this game all day, but yeah, it's just instead of reading tarot cards traditionally, you read them based on um, based on what you think is the best. So let's see. Um, integrating, accomplishing, becoming involved, feeling fulfilled. This would be when you accomplished everything. So, accomplishment, involvement, fulfillment. Anyway, I'm getting tired. But I don't know. It's not perfect. It doesn't work perfectly. I mean, it doesn't work perfectly, but it does help.
In what way help? I mean, it helps you feel like you're doing the right thing. Is that what you mean?
Well, no, it helps in that it gives you advice, and then it gives you advice, and um, yeah, it gives you advice, and it gives you a certain mentality to think about. Like, I just you're starting out on your travel, so that would be the first step in order to do that, would to take on those qualities of the fool, because you're starting out, right? You're starting out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you're also trying to do, okay, you're also, like, I would also say that you should focus on the Hierophant, because um, basically you're trying to establish a system. So that would be getting an education, pursuing knowledge, becoming informed, increasing understanding, studying and learning, seeking a deeper meaning, finding out more, having a belief system, sharing a cultural heritage, learning a religious tradition, honoring ritual and ceremony, identifying a worldview, following a discipline, knowing where to put your faith, conforming, following the rules, taking an orthodox approach, staying with conventional bounds, adapting to the system, fitting in, going along with the program, doing what's expected, being part of the establishment, identifying with a group, being committed to a cause, devoting energy to a group, joining an organization, working as part of a team, feeling loyal to others, being in an institutionalized setting. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so like that kind of goes along with what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's saying this is the broad direction you're going, and these are the broad ideas that you should take into account if you want to fit in with this kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, I guess,
These
yeah, it's useful.
these would be the characteristics, yeah, that you would take on. And then there's tons more of reinforcing cards, and then you have the opposite of all that. Um, you have the opposite of all that. Let's see something. But I don't want to bore you any further.
Um, well, you might as well give me the negatives before you go, as you're tired.
Oh,
Yeah, rip Claire a new one. Let's hear it.
well, I don't
Yeah.
I don't have oh, well, no, that's not your personality. It's something more like that you're trying to accomplish. So, like, okay, let's think about something with Steven. I'm trying to think of a card that would really represent Steven. Let's
Is
think.
there a husband or baby card or
What about
wife card?
Temperance? Temperance.
Mhm. Yeah,
Steven
that's
is
him. Yeah, he
Steven has
doesn't
said he's
drink.
temperance, balance, health combination. Let's see, being temperate, finding a middle ground, showing moderation, avoid excess, mitigating a harsh position, looking for the golden mean, reacting, reaching a compromise, offsetting an extreme, maintaining balance, experiencing harmony, achieving equilibrium, bringing together opposites, recognizing all sides, fostering cooperation, feeling centered and secure, experiencing health, renewing energy and vigor, healing, enjoying well-being, recovering, flourishing, combining forces, gathering together what is needed, joining with others, consolidating, finding the right mix, creating synthesis, getting it all together. I don't know. Well, is that what you want? Is that what you want to accomplish in your life, Stephen?
Um, I don't know. Some of that was a bit too. Um, I was thinking that, and I was hearing that, and I was thinking, wow, if people had that, that made me sound like a liberal cuck, really.
Okay, so we don't
But
want to. Okay, so let's not do that one. Let's do. Let me just see something. Let's see if I can find something that's more. What does Stephen want? Is Stephen the Tower? Sudden change, release, downfall, revelation? No.
He wants to
Is
be a papa.
um
maybe these don't take into account, like I was saying earlier, the like modern day mental illnesses such as ADHD. I really think that these complicate matters.
Okay, so what about the emperor? Establishing a family line, setting direction and tone, protecting and defending, guiding growth, bringing security and comfort, offering explanations, creating order out of chaos, categorizing, being systematic, providing shape and form, being organized, applying reason, coordinating, sticking to the plan, taking a leadership role, commanding, exerting control, representing the establishment, being a position of strength, coming in contact with officials, setting direction, establishing law and order, operating from strong principles, applying rules and guidelines, working within the legal system, setting standards of behavior, following a regimen.
Maybe the first half of that was okay. I gravitate more towards that. I mean, what is this? What I like to be or what I am?
Um, it could be what you like to be, or what it could be what you are, or what you like to be, or something going on in your life, something that that fits. Let's see. What about justice? Justice, responsibility, decision, cause and effect.
I think Stephen is probably interested in predictions of probable success. So, I guess he's more into you will find a good woman and
But
have.
the thing is, I don't believe that this shit can divine anything. I don't believe in the divination aspect to it.
No,
I'm
but
interested in like
I'm
describing
not
a
practice.
personality type.
I'm not practicing divination. I'm trying to find a card that represents you, or represents your situation, or what you want to become. Okay, here's something okay, the world is basically, once you've gone through all the lessons and this might not be you, but it might be what you want to be, which is experiencing wholeness, bringing parts together, achieving dynamic balance, combining, creating synthesis, joining together, working in unison, realizing your goals, prospering, achieving your heart's desires, seeing dreams come true, flourishing, finding a beautiful solution, contributing, healing, rendering a service, using a gift or talent, sharing what you have, giving of yourself, feeling engaged, being active, feeling fulfilled, savoring the present, taking pleasure in life, enjoying peace of mind, getting satisfaction, finding contentment, countering your blessings. So that's probably something that you would want in your life, right?
Yeah, I can go with that.
Okay, so
Hey,
you would want to.
I was going to say the other day I did one of those, those Myers-Briggs tests, and I came out as
Yeah.
an INTP.
Oh, yeah, INTP. Did it describe you well?
I don't know, probably the logician. It said.
I mean, that sounds in a way a kind of a modern system of not maybe not divination, but a way of giving us our identity. When you think of zodiac signs and that kind of thing, it's like we want to know how we are. Oh, Stephen's dropped out. So
No, I'm
Vincent's
here.
dropped out.
Oh,
Vincent's dropped out. Yeah, I've been looking.
yeah.
I was looking at up the Wikipedia entry. It seemed to be saying people play card games with tarot cards rather than you know use it to predict the future. Though we know gypsies, like to. Well, I guess it's part of their way of making money. Like I'll tell your fortune, and then I'll tell a story about you that you'll like to hear, and maybe I'll predict your future, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but all that's bullshit as far as understand. As far as I understand the world to be, that is just bullshit, and people just like taking each other for a ride. The same as communicating with the dead. I put it on this level, of scams, basically. So when people try to use things like that, I just tune out. I think, fuck me, I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested. We're a waste of time. But this idea that there are certain groupings of personality traits and we're all kind of gravitated, as if like the space-time continuum has like a bunch of different wells in it and we've all like fallen down a particular one. And so we're all kind of in one or this other. I can get that because we do meet people that are we can meet somebody that's like us and all has all our traits, and we do know people who are like the analytical type. We do know people who are the rash type. We know people who are like the impulsive, arty type, and so I can get that there's this tradition of identifying these traits and stuff, and that has been laid down in these various different traditions.
Yeah, it's just turning into something more practical. The problem is when you start doing it by your birthday and your birth year, and then it gets messed up. But if you do it, the way I'm suggesting it, you can get a lot of wisdom out of it.
Yeah. I was as well, like my birthday, right? Believe it or not, I was 15 days overdue. I mean, can you imagine that for my mother? But so the date that I should have been born in, I was actually, it took 2 more weeks and a bit for me to come out. So, I mean, how does that even work? I mean,
Were you induced?
I think my mother, from what I remember, she said she drunk something and sat in a hot bath or something like that to finally get me going.
Okay. Oh, so she induced herself, but I mean they can do it to you at the maternity hospital, I guess.
Yeah, no. I would have been induced had it have gone on any longer, apparently. As a big baby when I came out, obviously. I mean, I'd been in there 2 weeks longer than I should have been.
Yeah, I mean, with these things, it's like we want to know. I guess it's helpful to say, ideally, if we're good, we're these things, but if we're bad, we're those things. And then I guess we want people to agree with us that, our sign is indeed our sign, which is very identity confirming. And I guess that kind of explains their eternal popularity, because, we want people to confirm things about ourselves. And tarot cards is just a wonderful medium for a complete stranger to, pretend they
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah, there's another story I can tell about being very young. By the way, which is while I remember it, that people. This is quite kind of crazy, but my mum insists that this is 100% true and and accurate. So much, she's not misremembering because it was astounding to her at the time. Oh, astounding to other people at the time. But apparently, by 6 months old, I was up and running around. And there was this occasion where you have to take the baby to a health visitor or something, or the health visitor came to the house. I can't remember exactly which one it is. But anyway, and no, it must have been in a place, because the story is that, so the health visitor came, or the midwife, or whatever it is, came and said, "Is Stephen able to sit up on his own yet?" to my mum, and she pointed over there and said, "He's over there running around playing with the toys." And the health visitor was shocked, and the doctor said that if If they didn't stop me, I'd end up with bowed legs. But
Why?
I don't know, from the bones being too soft or something.
Oh, so you were walking at 6 months.
Yeah, I was running around at 6 months old.
Ah. And children don't start walking until about what? After their first year, right?
Or something like that, apparently. Well, apparently,
Mm-hmm.
the milestone was that I should have been able to sit up on my own.
Well, and yes, you were actually running around.
Yeah.
And you don't have bow legs.
No, I don't have bow legs. You've seen them. My legs are fine. Nothing wrong with my legs, so
Could you be a kickboxer if you had bow legs?
I don't. What would bowed legs even look like, Irene? Have you ever seen? I don't think I've ever seen anyone with bowed legs.
I think
I
I
mean,
have.
what kind of a deformed would I end up as?
I have to look
Unfortunately,
at
though, I
pictures
mean,
of bowed legs.
I like this story about myself. You know, it makes me feel like I know something special or something. So I like to tell it.
That you
You
were
know, wow, I
advanced for
was.
your age.
Yeah, I was such an advanced baby, but unfortunately, it didn't translate into like I ended up like some super kid or something. It didn't. That was it. That was the extent of my like advancement. Yay! I could run around faster than all the other kids, and then I dropped behind or something. I don't know what the fuck. Why it didn't translate into being advanced in all aspects, I don't know. Anyway, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah, I had some story. I think you see, I'm not really sure about these stories. People tell you stories and you're not sure if you heard it right. Um, some story about me climbing curtains near my cot,
About what? I can't hear you. You're muffled.
climbing a curtain that was near my cot. And
Yeah.
well, apparently I climbed up it, and then there was a crash, and my mother came and looked in on me and found me sitting on the ground, and she was surprised about how I managed to get out of my cot. And
Yeah.
apparently I climbed the curtains, and I was just sitting there.
Wow.
But I don't even know what age I was, but I guess I was still in my cot.
Troublemaker right from the start, Claire.
Maybe.
Breaking the boundaries right from day one.
Exploring.
I often wonder as well. I often wonder about this that I was overdue by over 2 weeks. I often wonder if this is related to like my ADHD or and I go on about this because people really don't understand. Like, I mean, ADHD is real, you idiots. It really is. Otherwise, explain me. I'm otherwise. I mean, come on. People tell me, you tell me, Vincent says it, other people I interact with explain. I'm not stupid. I'm an otherwise intelligent person, but I'm gripped. I have this real, like, debilitating mental issue. This
Has
problem
anybody
in my.
complained though? Like, oi, Stephen, stop being ADHD. I'm sure nobody ever says that to you.
Well, maybe not as an adult now, but I mean, yes, absolutely, as a kid, all the time.
So you've
Not
gotten over
in.
it.
No, I haven't at all. I've
So
learnt to
how do you
live with
know
it. I've
you
learnt
haven't gotten, okay, what are the symptoms? Not being able to concentrate. Well, hey, everybody has that problem.
being unable to manage time losing everything. Like whilst I was in Las Vegas,
Bad time management skills.
Yeah, but you're being unable. It doesn't matter even with time management. I can plan. Like if I have something that I have to, like let's say there's somewhere I have to be, and I have to be there for 9 o'clock, and it's something unusual. It's out of the schedule that I've got. That I've managed to set this fixed schedule, so it's not work. It's a different thing, an appointment. Then I can prepare to get ready for it, like 2.5 hours in advance, and I'll still be running out the door at like 3 minutes to 9 or something, thinking, holy shit, what the hell? Where did the time go? But it's not just that. It's losing things. Whilst I was in Las Vegas, believe it or not, right, I lost and somehow managed to get back again my phone 5 times whilst I was in Las Vegas. I lost it 5 times and it came back to me. I got it back. I mean, just incredibly
How
miraculous.
did you lose your phone?
Just put it down. I just put it down and walk away. This is, what happens. Sit at a slot machine. Sit at a table to eat something. Go, and walk away, and then realize like 5 minutes later, holy shit, I don't. Do I have my wallet? Yes. Do I have this? Yes. Do I have that? Yes. My phone's gone. Oh my god! And then go running back, and the phone was still there. And I'm like, oh, like shit! I've been so lucky, and this happened 5 times.
Very lucky. Is it a nice phone?
It's just a Pixel 6, Pixel 5. So no, nothing special. But it would have been an absolute nightmare if I'd have lost it while I was there.
Yes. But you've never lost your phone in the UK. I mean, I've done it myself. I think just once, just leaving it on a chair.
No, I've lost my phone lots of times.
Oh, right.
I have to have insurance for a phone. I lose it in the house more often than anything. I lose things in the house all the time, and usually what it is I'll go when I'm going for something else, like in a drawer. I'll put I'll put something like my phone or my car keys in the drawer that I'm looking for something in, and so I'll lose I can't find my car keys. I'll go upstairs, start looking through my drawer, and whilst I'm looking for my car keys, I'll put my phone in that drawer.
Yes.
So it's an endless cycle like this that happens. This is extremely difficult. And what this causes is extreme disorganization. So,
Why don't people have those? Those clips that you make your way your phone around your neck. Because I actually knew this bloke, and it's like you're wearing your keys around your neck like a necklace. He said, "Yeah, well, I live alone, and I'm tired of locking myself out, so I wear my keys around my neck."
I do that, but I mean there are some health aspects to a phone that are not to be ignored, like the radiation aspect of it. So I don't think you should have a phone next to your chest or your head for too much, or your balls for too long.
Oh, yes, I've heard stories. Yes.
So that's why I wouldn't do that. But I have considered it.
Yeah. Gosh, nearly 3 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah. Living the Dream says, mate, I've been looking for something I put down the last few hours. Pretty normal. Ugh. I don't think you... Well, I mean... I get it. Everybody has this...
Do you have a man bag?
No, I have a bag, a rucksack bag, a
Hmm.
bag I wear on my back. But the problem is, if I put more than three things in it, then I have to remove everything every single time that I'm looking for something. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, look, to be just gripped with disorganization, the inability to organize things, plan things effectively, and to go through these cycles of, I know, being able to be productive and also being utterly inept. People don't understand like that. People just ask me, "Oh, SJJ, why aren't you making videos?" They don't understand that I go through these cycles of being utterly incapable of doing almost anything except like fucking wiping my own ass. I know I make it. I try to put on a good show for my YouTube channel, and I'm like competent or capable or whatever, because I just don't want to look useless.
Well, maybe
But
you sweat the small stuff too much. Maybe you don't really need, a really good intro or really good, maybe it's enough
no, but
that you
just to
just
have
come
an
on and talk.
idea, and talk about it, and
Yeah, yeah.
just to have
So,
an
so you have a
idea.
topic. Like I'm going to
Hmm.
talk about, I don't know, Tinder or right. It's like just stick to it, and then you're done. It doesn't. You don't even have to be right about it, as long as somebody's interested in the topic you want to discuss. And maybe you said one or two coherent sentences, and
Hmm.
people, say, "Oh, that was his takeaway point," and that's all you need. It doesn't have to
Yeah, I
be.
get it.
Yeah,
I get
but some
it. I
people
mean,
can't even do that.
yeah, I mean, no offense, Clip, but like, I'm trying. If I'm gonna do YouTube, I'm interested in a different style of YouTube to you. You're interested in like just creating informational content. You'll just, you know, switch it on. You won't care if you bore the pants off somebody with it, or if nobody's interested in listening to, or whatever. The only
Well,
thing that I
you're
care about is,
marketing your personality. I know that. Um, but I'm saying, within the
well,
context of marketing
no,
your
not necessarily
personality.
anymore. I've given up on that. It wasn't successful. That wasn't successful. It didn't work. I mean,
Why'd you say
I
that?
was, because I
You
was
were
at
doing
it
quite
two
well.
years. No, not really, not at all. Uh,
I mean, they probably, suppress your algorithms because they don't like your associations.
no.
That they are quite ruthless about doing that. So I don't think it's necessary. I mean, lots of people come to watch you, and you don't have to make sense. You just have to talk about the thing they want to hear talked about, and you have to make people want to talk about the thing with you, and then they're happy. You know.
There's about five people who want me to go on camera. I don't know, because I suppose hopefully they're girls, and they just, I don't know, for whatever reason,
Hmm.
want to see a bit more of me. They're probably
Hmm.
gay dudes or whatever, but I get these kind of comments. Oh, going back on camera or whatever. Somebody's even like, I don't know, wanted to see more of me and all this kind of stuff, leaving weird comments. But so there's like that contingent of people.
Hmm.
I just can't, I'm not interested in playing up to those. So
We'd like to see Buddy again.
yeah, maybe. But to
No,
what
no. I
extent?
mean, I mean, if you're
I'm
talking
also
about content, I think that there's good content, and if he's,
no,
you know,
no. I'm also conscious of putting Buddy on camera just to like do a video about him being, like a sick, ailing dog.
yeah, but yeah, because there's a kind of, well, we saw him, that was how you started. You just went on walks with this dog, and we kind of want to see him again. You know,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
he'll appear.
well, well, it would just be a part of your story.
Well, okay, that's
and
one
and and
video.
the yes, yes. So you can have a think about how you're going to present that, and I think that would work quite well. Your buddy stream,
Well,
because I know you focus on the presentation. So
I also like to do that type of video. Hey, his buddy is like 14 years old now. He's suddenly decided he doesn't want to go for walks. He's blah 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 blah. He's a very old dog. Here we are now. He's deteriorated rapidly. I
well,
stood
no,
at
you don't. I mean, you can
eliciting
just
the kind of
have him in the
sympathy.
background while you talk to us. It doesn't need to be, oh, he's, so you can't have him without even mentioning his condition, and he'll probably
Yeah, I
be.
can but I would have to go back to doing videos on camera again. Yeah, I'll do some again. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I also realised is that I'm much more able, like the politics videos that I was putting out. Yeah, a lot of people aren't interested in those too. But I mean, I was able to hit like consistently a couple of thousand views on those videos because it was the election and stuff, and because I kept it short, concise, snappy, to the point. But the truth is about those videos is like most of them, I sat there and recorded those or attempted to record them like 5 or 6 times, and I was like, ugh. And I was like, Stephen, spit out your fucking words, stop. And then, delete, re-record. The Conservative Party is blah, 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 blah. Stephen, spit out your fucking words. Stop, delete. This is what it was like. And, so like those videos, which I made look like, they
Paul
were...
Joseph Watson kind of jobs,
No,
right?
no, they weren't even that because I wasn't on camera. They were just... I made it look... I gave off the impression like they were off the cuff, and I call them my ADHD videos. But the truth is, of recording them, the versions that you heard were like 5 or 6 versions deep.
I'm afraid I
Because
didn't even watch them.
I know you weren't interested. I wasn't even doing it for my own audience. I was doing it to try and get a few thousand views or something, which I was achieving. But in order to do that, in the style that I was doing, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been interested in doing it if I had to sit there and edit the video down. So I'm not interested. So I have to run through like everything I want to say. I won't write a script because I physically can't do that. And if I did that, I think it'd come off terrible anyway, me reading something out. So I have to do it like, I don't know, clairvoyantly. I have to just come up with it, but also not make mistakes in like a 10-minute video or something. And in order to do that, it takes like 5, 6, 7 attempts. So I don't know, becomes a hassle basically. I make it look easier than what it is, and then they're not very good.
Well, I mean, you got a few over 1,000 views, so that must have been quite satisfying.
No.
But so why did you think it was that it didn't work? Since you did get your viewership or the numbers. I mean,
Well, those could work, but now I don't really have the interest. I mean, what am I gonna? I mean, that was the election, the run up to the election, and I had something to say that was genuine. That was, I disagreed with this 0 seats policy. I was suspicious about who was pushing it, and I honestly think that it would have been better just to keep Rishi Sunak than ending up as we have done with the fucking Labour government. And whatever shit the Conservative Party is going to reform. So I had something unique to say. Nobody else was saying it, so I started it's something to say. Now,
Right.
I don't know what I
And
want to
now
talk
you've
about.
lost interest. There's still so much going on.
I know, but I also feel like an imposter. I suffer from this like imposter syndrome too. So I do this. I get this when I go like on Twitter. I'll start typing out a tweet like blah blah blah. Joe Biden, da 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 da, and then I sit there and I think, who am I to say this, and who would I expect to even care? So I delete it all, and think, you know,
Well,
this
I don't
day and
think you're
age,
playing Twitter properly. I mean, the game is to get engagement. So I guess if you start out, you have to be responding to other people's tweets, and maybe you can't bring yourself to do that because sometimes it can be. Yes, I mean you might feel aggressive or presumptuous or whatever, and maybe that's not your personality. But I'm afraid it is about picking fights with people and then finding people who agree with what you say. But it's quite easy to find kind of like-minded people. But I notice you
yeah,
don't like playing on Twitter. You prefer
no,
the medium of speech. Well, I
I,
suppose I'm in a way happy with different kinds of expression. Though there was a time when I just couldn't have imagined myself having a YouTube channel because I just thought it's so much more efficient to just say what I mean in a few sentences. Why do I have to go on and on and on and on? And then I realized people want me to go on and on and on. Not
no,
not necessarily to hear me speak, but
I,
you know,
I mean
to hear
Twitter works for
associated
you.
views.
Twitter works for you. I think you should repost other people less. I don't see the virtue of reposting. I don't see the point in it. I don't know why people repost other people's shit. Don't you think it just dilutes your own feed, the things that you have to say?
Well, I just sort of feel duty bound to retweet things that I agree with or want to propagate and show approval for. And I know a lot of people don't want to do that. I mean, I guess they might be afraid to even like things because, in case they attract people, haters. So, but I'm basically saying people should like whatever they like, and they should retweet what they want propagated, and not be afraid of trolls and Twitter mobs. Elliot, I know you're here, but that your device is not connected. So I hope he connects his device and joins us quickly. And basically, people play in a different way. I mean,
I'm I'm quite enjoying like doing things on the down low, like hanging out here on your channel, talking to you and Vincent and Elliot. Now he's here and that, in a way that I know 99% of my audience won't even know that I'm here and having these conversations, and I quite like that actually.
yes. Hi, Elliot. Oh, he's gone again.
You run away. Are you sure it's Elliot?
I only gave the link to him on Facebook,
Okay, good.
so I
Yeah,
think
okay, good.
he's got some connection issues or something. Yeah, I think what you said about you had this message, you thought it was important, you felt it was important enough to craft it properly. That I think gives you the impetus, and maybe now you don't feel quite so bent on. Well, maybe you don't feel you have much of a message at the moment because you've allowed Richard Spencer to make you not be enthusiastic about Trump, but
Yeah, I think there's nuance to things. So I'm not clear about things anymore. So I mean, yeah, that's a barrier. What am I going to do? Start a video to explain that I don't know what the fuck to think about something? I mean, who wants to hear somebody
Well, why don't
like
you try?
waste?
Because there will be loads of people wanting, happy to tell you what to think. And that is, no, no, no. I think a lot of it is um, being natural. So actually, Khalid was, I've just been saying, look, you mustn't craft it like that. You mustn't make it a kind of lesson plan. And anyway, he's sort of saying, I'll do a monologue, and I thought great because at least it is spontaneous and organic, and there was a time when I used to think, well, just decide what you're going to say and say it, not say, oh, I'm not really sure what I'm going to say. Please bear with me while I formulate my thoughts and think aloud and blah blah. And I got so impatient with that, and until I realised that actually people are content to let be taken on a wandering path, as long as you come to a conclusion, or say something interesting along the way, and
Well,
it's your thinking aloud stream.
I can do that. Like,
Yeah.
I can do live streams. Okay. I feel a bit of pressure when it's on my channel now because 30 people turn up, and if it's a fun one, that can be like 50 or 60 people. I mean, do you remember when we were doing the millennial commentary? We had like 80 people on my channel live, consistently sat there listening. So, like, if there's something to talk about that's engaging,
They'll come.
then I'm happy to do it. But otherwise, I mean, I feel like this imposter syndrome to turn on the stream and start like telling people I know what to think when I don't know what to think about a lot of things myself. I don't have a particular message that I want to craft. If I do, then I have to be careful how I do it. I have to hold back. I have to worry about fucking hate speech or, all this bullshit. So I could never actually, I couldn't just come out and go, send the buggers back. Or
Well,
any of
well,
this.
it would still be an interesting exercise, to respond. It's like, okay, just avoid, all the trigger words. And even if you don't know what to think, as long as you explain why you don't know what to think, it could still be quite good to listen to, because people will be happy to tell you what to think after they've listened to your stream, and you will get the engagement. And so I think monologues are useful as long as your sentences make sense, and each one follows logically from the other, or even if it's slightly illogical, people can get the gist of it. And it doesn't have to be this high maintenance thing. You are allowed to come to a stop. You don't have to formulate everything carefully. And sometimes it's just therapeutic. I mean, that's why Luke does it, right? I don't think he necessarily knows what he's going to say, or perhaps he does, but um, yeah, you can just say, "Well, I'm going to talk about this subject," and then, yeah, I mean, for me, I find that sometimes you talk yourself into something that you didn't intend to talk yourself into, and that's also quite a revelation.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you already have a marketable personality, so you should just stream more.
well, I don't know if I really do. I mean,
Well, you can just test it.
what? No, not really. I mean, there are like probably a million, I don't know, certainly thousands and thousands of people like me on YouTube doing like this kind of shit that just gets a handful of views and nobody, basically don't break out of, a handful of views.
A lot of
And
this is just therapy and kind of video diary, I guess,
well, okay,
isn't
but
it?
I'm not really interested in therapy or whatever.
But you're
So
interested
that's
in
why
expressing
basically
your view.
what I'm trying to say is that at one point, I thought, this could be successful and, could make something like, I don't know.
Yeah, you could be a vlogger, and
Yeah,
then
something like that.
you realize that that the whole system is rigged, and even when you do get monetized, you live in terror of being demonetized, and then you basically betray your principles.
Well, I mean, no, it's not just that. I mean, if
I
I was
mean,
going to do that, I'd probably have to show my face. And I'm probably glad that I didn't, in the end, decide to do that because, I mean, not because I'm afraid to do it, or I think anything bad would happen, but I mean, what's the point of doing that if I then go through these periods where I have nothing, literally nothing to add anyway? I have nothing to say. And I'm putting out the, fully exposing myself on top of that.
well, I mean, you have a marketable enough personality for people to come to you despite not showing your face, and so there is no need to. And I guess you would just use it as a medium of communication. So I guess if you have an online community, I guess you want to keep in touch with them and let them know what your thoughts are. And I guess the good thing about it would be you are able to express your thoughts, and there will be a response to it by more than one person, some of which could be interesting, and that's how you start the next stream based on the responses you get to the previous one, and there is an organic development and dialogue that is in some way social and political and psychological. And
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. But like I say, at the moment, I'm going through like the imposter syndrome and the nothing to talk about syndrome. So I'm just
well,
not
you could do a stream. I have nothing to talk about, and they'll still come.
I know, but what a
They'll
fucking
still come. I
tragic,
tell you.
what a tragic stream that would be, Claire. I mean, oh
No,
my
no.
god, I don't want to be that person because fundamentally, here's the kicker. Fundamentally, I'm not that type of tragic person. I don't need like the attention of people on YouTube. I'm I'm in. I'd be interested in having it, but I don't need it. So I can let it. I can take it and leave it. I mean, ironically, the times that I've
So I don't know
left it, the times.
what.
What?
Oh, so sorry, your sound went and then it came back again. Carry on. But
Oh,
I missed out what you said in your last
I was
sentence.
saying. I was saying I can take and leave the attention, and ironically, the times that I've given it up are the times when I'm doing most well. So, like, um.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, for me, it's a medium of communication, and sometimes, most of the time, I don't know where the conversation is going. I don't know who's going to come on. I don't know what they're going to say, and I find this sort of interesting and refreshing, then and also fun, and I hate really scripted. Um, streams where there is a set piece, people will just be behaving in a particular way and talking about the same subject again and again and again. I sense you are tired, so I think I
Yes.
will let you go.
Yeah. How long have we been on here tonight? How long was I here? 2 hours, another 2 hours at
3
least.
12 hours nearly.
You were on with Vince a while before, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I'll put this down on my claim form from the government.
Yes.
Putting in the hours.
Mm-hmm.
Is Vincent still there?
I don't know. I think he might have dozed off or something. Elliot's at the beach.
Yes. Well, good for Elliot.
The sound has gone off again.
Sorry, can you hear me
The
now?
sound has gone. Yes, but I
You can
didn't
hear me
hear what
now.
you were saying. Yes, but I didn't hear what
No,
you
I
were
was just
saying.
saying. I was just saying, good for Elliot.
Mhm.
Should get down to the beach. I would love to live near a beach, good weather, good vibes. I could even do a job. Then you don't need lifeguards at the beach.
Maybe next year when you go visit him, and he'll take us to a seafood restaurant
Ugh. All right
to
then,
eat
Claire.
bugs of the sea. Thank you for coming, and goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for listening, people. Don't tell the rest of my viewers that I'm hanging out here. Bye for now.
Bye.